Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde.
Is there anything anybody loves more than agreeing with Tausch?
Packers Hall of Famer, Mark Tauscher.
I got a hunch this isn't going to be concise either.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
I would say that you are pretty easygoing. You're actually probably more easygoing than I am.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Well, you're not easygoing at all.
Hey!
On 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
It is the Friday edition. They're not booing, they're yelling Bulaga edition. I don't know if you've heard, but the Packers are playing the Bears this week. Is anybody really thinking or talking about this game specifically, this matchup? Maybe in Brian's family down in Illinois, although I know his dad's not a Bears fan, edition. And all the fun things we do every Friday, including the green and gold game preview, the Academy with their final regular season headline of the year in movie form, and everything else that we've got going on. On Wilde and Tausch, on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from his disclosed location in Florida, although maybe he's at the farm, you never know. He is the future Packers Hall of Famer and the guy that makes us smarter every time he's on the show.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of.
It is Bryan Bulaga. Bryan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Glad to be back on with you guys. I appreciate the invite. It's always good to fill in for Tausch. It's always good.
They are big shoes and pants to fill. So we've got you for 3 hours, and I thought in between all the other stuff that we always get to on Fridays, I did think, because I mean it when I say this, we are smarter when we have you on the show. You make us smarter, and I do not take that lightly, and I don't say that just to be nice. It's absolutely true. And I was already getting some questions from people, and I wanted to. I think I have a lot of answers, but they're not the same answers as a guy who played in the league and who has really grown into his analyst role, since that's what Tausch prefers to be called, so I assume you'd like to be called that as well. And so I thought it would be fun to get some questions for you. So you can send those in via the Carbless talk and text line, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. My question for you out of the gate is, how interested are you in this game? And if you were a player this week, are you using, hey, we want to keep the streak going, 12 straight over the Bears? I heard a couple players mention that yesterday. Where is your motivation coming from when you don't really have the greatest of chances of improving your playoff position. How do you approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it from is there a chance that, Dallas beating Washington? No, it's not great, right? Like, it's not a great chance. Is there a chance? Sure, there's a chance, and you could maybe move up a spot, maybe. But from a motivational standpoint, I think sure you could look at continuing the streak against Chicago. It is a division rival and all that, and you kind of want to continue to stack momentum within the division. You did drop 4 against the 2 top teams in the division, so you want to continue to win games within the division, which I think is important to continue to establish yourself as one of the better teams in the division and leave Chicago as the bottom dwellers down there, not even allow them to win a game in the division. You don't want to be the team that gives Chicago a win in the division. That's something that I think means something, at least for me personally, is the way I would feel about it. And we kind of talked about this last night on the Homer Hour. For me personally, if I were on the team, I would use this game for me as something that gets me ready, feeling confident going into the playoffs. I know Chicago, for an offensive line perspective, has a good defensive line. They have a good defense. So, I'm treating this as something that can prepare me to go against Philadelphia's defense. Is it the same defense? No, it's not. But you know what? Chicago's got a good defense. They have a good front. They played us really tough in Chicago. If we all think back to what happened in Chicago, they played us really tough. So we understand we're going to get a good game against them. So this is a good game to get us ready to go to Philly and play another tough defense. And it gives you confidence to go out there and be ready to go in a tough environment and play. Lambeau is it's your last time in Lambeau. You're in front of the home crowd, and you get to get that one last embrace from your home crowd and get the support from your home crowd. And then after that, man, you're on your way to away crowds, and no one's cheering for you. It's not like it's going to be tough to go to these away crowds. And, normally Green Bay travels really well on the road games during the season. It is very hard for Packers fans to get these tickets in these type of venues, right? In Philly, to go get tickets in these type of scenarios, right? It's very difficult for them to purchase tickets because Philly, they're not giving up playoff tickets. And then if you say you beat Philly, I'm telling you what, they're not giving them up in Detroit, or they're not giving them up in Minnesota. So it's going to be hard to get a lot of Packers fans in the stadium. So this is your last time to play in front of your fans. So enjoy it, play well, get yourself ready to go on the road and be it's you versus everyone. So I would look at this thing as getting your mind and kind of your technique and everything ready to go on a playoff run.
All right, so we'll get to some more of your questions as we go through the show. You can submit them via the Carbless talk and text line. Lists is more. 844-770-3776. But you mentioned our conversation on the Homer Hour last night, and I want people, as popular as you and Homer are, not everyone listens to that show and ours. And what I thought was really interesting yesterday, because we kind of dug down further with LaFleur on what his thought process was, and I thought it became very clear that he believed he made a mistake in 21 when he told Aaron and all the starters, hey, you're going to play the first half in Detroit, and then we're going to turn it over to the young guys and the backups, because they had locked in the number 1 seed. And while I said to LaFleur as we went back and forth, you don't really think you lost to the 49ers because of the way you handled the regular season finale against the Lions? And he said no, but it left a sour taste in his mouth. So to your point about wanting to play well, he has made sure that he did not tell the guys that they're going to leave the game at some point. And if you are a player, and I know how conscientious you were, but if you're being told, hey, you're only going to play a half, does that not impact your mentality? And is that probably why he's making sure he does not make that same mistake again. Like, if you're not preparing to play the whole game, I don't care how professional you are, it's hard not to think, okay, well, I just got to get through the half and then we'll be done. Like, that was a mistake by him, and I think he acknowledges that.
Yeah, I mean, you're human, right? Like, you get told you're only playing this much, no matter what, right? Like, no matter how professional, how veteran you are, it doesn't matter, man. Like, hey, this is as far as I'm going. So, like, no matter what happens throughout this game, like, I know I'm checking out at halftime, and that's just what it is. And it's, to me, like, I would rather not be told anything. I'd rather just be told, think you're playing the whole game, and just go into this thing thinking you're going to go the distance. And if you get pulled in the third and the second and the fourth, hey, great. Bonus, right? You get the tap on your shoulder after you come off for a series and say, "Hey, you're done. You're down," and that's great. Sounds good. Thank you. We're going to Philly next week. Get ready to go. Okay, perfect. But to know beforehand that you're only going a certain amount of time, like I think that kind of, I don't want to say it softens you mentally, but it certainly doesn't put you in a state to, like, be ready to, like, I don't know, like, not, I don't even know how to put it, but it doesn't make you feel like you're going to, like, be ready to be battle tested and battle ready to go the full distance, right? Like, because you're passing it off to somebody else. No matter what happens in that game, you're passing it off to somebody else. So it doesn't matter what happens in the first half. I don't care, because I'm not finishing this thing off. So I could play a terrible game. I could play a really good game, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, we could be up 2 scores, we could be down 2 scores. Doesn't matter, because I'm not finishing it. And I just think that's in a regular season, preseason, it's different, right? Like, that to me, like, that really is, I could care less about that, right? Like, and that's probably the only time I could say I could care less about it is the preseason. But, like, regular season games, even if you are the 1 seed and you've locked it up and all that, like, I kind of get Andy Reid's situation right now, because they do got guys banged up and he's resting. Like, I get it, right? Like, when you got actual injury issues, I understand it. And I'm totally on board when you have injury issues. But when guys are healthy and you're sitting guys, that's where I start to have a little, I don't know if that's right? And then guys start to, and they get comfortable and I understand the coach's mentality. Right, like, I get it. Like, you'd rather have the healthy body in the playoff than something happen, and I get it. But, like, there's something to be said about guys, like, going out there and playing well and carrying that over into the next week of the playoffs and playing well. And, like, because in the reality of this thing, Green Bay's not the 1 seed, right? And this isn't back when I played, when the 1 seed and 2 seed got the bye week. It's only one team, right? And we're not that one team. So we're rolling right into the next week. And we already know Philly is resting guys. And, that's what they're doing. So they're sitting guys. And they're a more veteran team, right? By all means, they're a more veteran team. They got older guys, and they've made that decision on Monday or Tuesday, whenever Sirianni said it. And that's what he thinks is best. That's great. That's fine. But we're not a more veteran team. And by all means, and the injury report is what it is, right? We got some guys banged up, but
no doubt.
We know who those guys are, and we already know those guys are not playing, right? Like Watson and Quay and William, like, we know those guys aren't playing. So, like, that's not who I'm talking about. But for the most part, it's a pretty clean bill of health, if we look at the team overall. But we want this young team to be able to go play really good this week against Chicago and carry that momentum into Philadelphia, right? Like, because I always thought, when we had the 1 or 2 seed when we played, and if we had that week off, whenever the team came into Green Bay that was, that played the week in the wild card and won, carried a lot of momentum into Lambeau. And then you had to try to match that. No matter, even though you were the favorite, you had to try to match that intensity. And that was tough to do, right? Like, I mean, it was tough to do. And the time that we had to do it, I mean, against the Giants, obviously did not go well. If we all recall what happened in 2011, I'm trying to think of the other times that we had to do it. I mean, I think Dallas, we did it fine, right? In 2014, were we the 2
Yep.
seed?
You were? Yes.
We did
you
it.
had,
We did
yep.
it fine. We did it fine there. But that was a tough game too, right? That was a tough football game. It wasn't an easy game. So like, it's just one of those things that you'd want to be playing well going into it. So like, I just hope that guys have the right mindset going into this football game against Chicago, and that's all I'm hoping.
And let's be clear here too. As long as Cowboys Commanders is in doubt, they should be playing their guys because there is something to be gained. You can avoid the number 2 seed, and you can play either the Rams or the Buccaneers, who I assume are going to win the NFC South. They haven't officially done it yet. But to me, as long as that game's in doubt, you don't have to worry about any of this because your guys need to play. And how closely is LaFleur going to be monitoring the scoreboard? And if the Commanders are up 21 early in the third quarter, is he going to pull the plug on guys? Maybe. But the fact of the matter is, if somehow the Cowboys put up a good fight, you want Jordan Love and all those guys playing to win as long as possible because you do have something to gain. It's not like there's nothing to be gained from this game. That's the one difference here than, say, for some of these teams that are locked into their position.
I agree. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have something to actually gain. And you know, Homer and I went back and forth on this yesterday because he's like, well, you know, Dallas isn't winning. I go, but they could. But they could. Like, that's
right.
You know what I mean? Like, they certainly could win. I mean, they probably won't, but they could win. So, like, yeah, you are playing for something. I mean, if Dallas wins and Green Bay doesn't beat Chicago, I mean, you may never forgive yourself for that, right? Like, if you don't play your guys and you end up, or not play your guys, but you pull your guys early and you lose to Chicago and Dallas wins, you may never forgive yourself for that. And not the chance to go to LA or Tampa or however that pans out, and you go to Philly instead. So, like, there is something to play for. I get the odds are what they are of what Dallas, Washington, how that's going to pan out. But, like, and you don't want to be, you know, I get LaFleur's situation. You don't want to be in the situation where you're scoreboard watching or you got the guy in your ear, you know, telling you what the score is constantly and what, like, I get it. Like, you just want to be able to coach and, like, but the reality is that's probably going to happen, right? Like, there's most likely he's going to have someone telling him what's going on and all that. And that's part of this thing. But I'm hoping he allows his guys to go at least the first half and a little bit into the third quarter and then evaluate from there, right? Like, if Dallas is getting washed in the third quarter, okay, right? And if your guys are playing well into the third quarter and you're doing a good job against Chicago, all right, maybe it's time to sit Love. I mean, obviously, I'm. You mentioned it yesterday, and I'm all on board with that. Like, let's let Jacobs not touch the rock 20 times, right? Like, let's be very mindful with Jacobs' touches, right? Because
he's so vital to what they do.
Yes, as good as he is with, like, how he's able to protect himself and how he carries the ball and how he bounces off guys, like, the life of a back is very tough, right? Like, and how they get held up and then chopped down. Like, I'd rather just not go down that road, you know, limit the exposure. So, like, and listen, like, it's okay to get other backs some touches. It's okay to get, you know, some guys some looks right now, to get them some experience under their belt. Like, this is the time. Like, this is when you want other guys to get their hands on the football, going into the playoffs, because again, you never know what's going to happen, right? You never know what could happen in the playoffs. Perfect example, what happened with James Starks for us going into the playoffs. Right. James Starks, you know, didn't get too many touches until the playoffs, and then he was the starting running back for the entire playoff run. So, like, you just never know. And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Jacobs, but, like, you just want everyone to be prepared. And that's kind of, and I know I could be contradicting myself by saying that with, like, you know, play all the guys. And, well, what if Bryan? Well, then you should sit guys and let other guys. No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about, like, running back is a different situation than the quarterback. And but overall, like, I think the guys should, like, 3/4 of the game, let them play well, let them build that confidence, and then safe than sorry, pull them, let other guys, well, because you can't pull everybody, right? There's only so many that dress. You can't pull everybody. That's the reality of. So there's going to be a lot of starters that stay out there the entire game. Like, that's the reality of this thing. So, like, you know, you only have so many guys that you can pull. So, like, I mean, you look at who you're going to pull, Jason. I mean, for me, you're going to pull Love. You're going to pull Jacobs. You're going to pull McKinney. You're going to pull Kenny. You're going to pull probably Rashawn. Maybe Zach Tom. And then who's the 7th?
Right, and you're already sitting, and that was LaFleur's point, is you're already sitting a bunch of injured guys who are going to be inactive. You have, like, you know, as much as you'd like to take and treat it like and again, they have to get the lead first, right? I mean, the last time they played the Bears, they didn't succeed in that. Now, the Bears have now lost, 10 in a row, so you certainly would hope that you will have the opportunity to consider these options, but the fact of the matter is, and look, LaFleur mentioned something that Bill Belichick said earlier in the week, which is this is a challenge of, okay, we're going to tell these guys they're too valuable for us to risk. It reminds me of that preseason game in Winnipeg where the field was crappy, so LaFleur had like 33. Were you still with the team at that point?
Yeah.
The field was crappy, so 33 guys didn't dress, but the rest of you guys, we don't care if you get hurt. Like, the field sucks, but we got to put somebody out there. You're not as important. You have to play, right?
Yeah. That's essentially what happened. Yeah.
So that was his point of what Belichick had said earlier in the week. All right, we didn't get to do tackle talk this week, and Jordan Love was sacked 3 times in the game. Which he'd only been sacked 11 times all year coming in. So we'll do Tackle Talk, the Friday edition, coming up next with Bryan Bulaga in as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Well, who needs a sleigh or reindeer when you can make this holiday season EV at Zimbrick Chevy? Zimbrick Chevrolet has all kinds of deals on electric vehicles going on right now. Save $12,500 on a 2024 Chevy Silverado EV 3WT. This truck gets the job done. It has a 393-mile range to go with a 12,500-pound towing capacity. There are 5 to choose from, so stop in, check them out. Zimbrick Chevrolet also has special offers this holiday season on a 2024 Chevy Equinox EV and a 2024 Chevy Blazer EV, including 0% APR for each. Well, maybe leasing is the way you want to go. Zimbrick Chevrolet also has great leases on EVs. Check out ZimbrickChevrolet.com to see all of their current inventory and all the new specials. And don't forget to stop in to see the amazing service team as you prepare for your holiday travel as well. Happy holidays from Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust.
Madison's home of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Lillard lobs up top to Giannis. Whoa, what a play!
Wisconsin Badgers volleyball.
Underneath it, bump set, left side, powers it down. What a rally! And Wisconsin comes out on top.
And now, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Hit to left and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here! Gone! Wow!
This is Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers. 100.5 ESPN.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Whether you're an artist playing accountant, a barista trying to be a bean counter, or a student just looking to get started, The UW Credit Union app lets you be free to be you. With free credit scores, free online bill pay, and the ability to send money to friends. Because with fewer fees, you can do more of what you love. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get house.
Monday nights this football season, huddle up for the Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia.
Scatterboot carried 50 times for us.
Amen. Amen, Coach.
Now he would have been giving us a hands-on hit. Yeah, Coach, I need break. Not so fast, Scatterboot.
The Great Dane Huddle, driven by Janesville Kia. Mondays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Come see what the buzz is all about at Madison Axe, Madison's state-of-the-art entertainment spot. Enjoy 8 lanes of axe throwing, craft beer, interactive games, plus digital target projection and scoring. For even more fun, check out their indoor backyard with 2,000 square feet of shuffleboard, cornhole, yard games, bar table games, and more. Perfect for date night, groups, corporate meetings, or private events. Madison Axe is your destination for all things fun. Throw it, nail it, celebrate. Go to MadisonAxe.com or head to their location on Stoughton Road today.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
And the pitch. Hey, struck him out swinging.
100.5 ESPN, your new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Continuing with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs, we believe in better. Getting some texts on the carbless talk and text line with questions for you, so we'll get to those coming up. But we didn't get to do tackle talk as we normally do after a game. So I ask you, Bryan Bulaga, what did you see from the Packers offensive line? How do you explain the uptick in sacks allowed in the game, statistically? And did Elton Jenkins get snubbed for the Pro Bowl?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the Minnesota game was the Lions' best game. We'll just put it that way, right? Like, I think you look at the game overall and it wasn't their best performance. I thought they did a nice job in the run game. Like, I thought they did a nice job for Jacobs, and he was very productive on the ground. I mean, unfortunately, in the game, they got into a situation where they couldn't continue to run the ball. They had to put it in the air, and, the way the game panned out, they got down so much that then they had to continue to throw. And when you become that predictable against a defense like that, it's tough, right? You're on the road. Flores likes to pressure. He throws a lot of different things at you, and when you're in a situation like that, it's hard to protect consistently. And there were just and it wasn't like the breakdowns happened all game, right? Like, it wasn't like a thing that happened from start to finish. Like, you kind of saw when Green Bay and this offense was making their comeback. It was very clean. Protection was very good. Like, in the fourth quarter when they were kind of starting to surge back, like, they cleaned a lot of things up and things looked really good. But it was kind of like the first half and the third quarter a little bit, like, they were having a hard time picking up the pressures. Guys were losing one-on-one matchups. Love was kind of getting pressured too often. And that just was that's very uncharacteristic for this offensive line. Like, because they're very good pass protectors, or at least I think they are. And based on the sacks given up and their pressure rate and all that, like, I think they're a very good group, protecting the passer, drop back wise. So, like, I think Flores did a really good job showing different looks and the way that they pressure. I mean, it's very Belichick style, and I remember going against the Belichick looks. It poses a lot of different challenges, and based on personnel as well. So, like, when we were going against Belichick, I mean, the personnel was much different than what Minnesota has. So, like, going against New England at the time, Chandler Jones was the big name pass rusher at the time. So, like, you had to keep track of him because he was the premier pass rusher. But then you look at the linebackers like Hightower, and then you had the, other certain, good players, but not like marquee type guys. But, like, you had to keep eyes on Chandler. This Minnesota group, I mean, I think you could say Van Ginkel's probably the big name guy. Didn't he make the Pro Bowl? Like, Van Ginkel, didn't he make the Pro Bowl? I think he did. Or did he not?
Well, it appears that anybody can make the Pro Bowl right now.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another segment.
Yeah. But like
oh, snap.
I think Van Ginkel's probably their best front player, right? Like, I think he's probably their best guy up front.
He played at Wisconsin instead of Iowa, so it's worked out well for him.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, like, I don't know where Van Ginkel was before. I don't even know where he was before.
Miami.
Where was he before? He was in
Miami.
I blocked him. Yeah, I played against him when I was in L.A. So I know, I remember him. So, like, the thing about that is, like, he has found a system that suits him very well. So, like, you have a group of guys that are good players that have now found a scheme with Flores that is making them really good players. And when you have that, and they're in an environment that the fans create, it's loud, it's a fast track, it's a good scheme, you kind of get what we saw on Sunday. And that's a lot of pressure, a lot of confusion, and these guys are able to play fast, they're confident, and they get home. And Van Ginkel's a perfect example of that. That guy is playing really well right now because he's very confident, he's able to play fast. Like, you see him screaming off the edge. I mean, he beat Tom a couple times I think one for a sack. Like, he's playing really, really well. And like, that's what Minnesota's kind of been doing this whole season with these guys. And it's a tip of the cap to them because they're not spending a ton of money on that side of the ball. I mean, I think we're looking offensively where a lot of their money is. Like, if you look at them, like, mostly is that, with the receivers and now the quarterback, they're probably going to have to pay the quarterback again and what they're doing. So that, I don't want to say it's all scheme, but a lot of it is what Flores is doing and what they're doing up front and create confusion. And then also with that, it's not always on the offensive line, right? Like, it's not everything is the offensive line's fault. At times, things can get blocked up well, and on the back end, things are covered up. And then by the time things do uncover on the back end, pressure eventually gets home, right? Pressure always eventually gets home. And then it looks like guys got beat and there's a sack or a pressure and Love has to throw it or get out of the pocket and throw it away. And then it looks like it's the O-line's fault. So, like, it's always a combination of one thing or another. But the eyes did not deceive early in that game. Like, the O-line had a rough go at it to start. I thought they settled down when, the late third, fourth quarter came into play. But it wasn't their finest showing. And they're going to have to get that sorted out. And that's why I want them all to play against Chicago and get that out of their system so that when you go play another good D-line in Philly, you feel good about what you're about to go do, right? Like, you feel confident that you can go play good football on the road again.
So did anything from that game, and then we'll move on, did anything from that game give you red flags or cause for concern? Like significant concern, right? I get they didn't play well. I get Jordan Love missed some throws. I get all that. But from an overarching, the playoffs are coming, I have questions about this team now in area X, Y, or Z because of what I saw against the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only area of concern I have is, like, can they start fast against good teams on the road? Right? And I don't mean start fast by putting up 14 points in the first quarter. Right? Like, I'm just looking for them to, like, score a touchdown in the first quarter and get themselves in a comfortable position, to start the game, right? And I get the field goal is fine, right? Like, and that's okay, but like, I mean, a touchdown to build confidence coming out of the gate, like a touchdown and a stop, right? And that's like kind of what I always looked at as a fast start, offensively and defensively, is like a touchdown and a stop, and that gets you going. And I think that's the one thing I'm looking for as they start this playoff push. Like when they go to Philly or Tampa or LA, whatever they do, when they take the field, can they score right off the get and then get a stop and get the ball back? And to me, that signifies a fast start. And what we've seen when they've played these good teams, on the road, that's something they struggled with. So, like, I think if they can get over that, later on in the game, we've seen what they've lost by in these games, right? Like, it's been like 2 points, 3 points.
Right.
Like, it's been very close. So, like, if you figure some of these things out in the early part of the game, I guess we could play Captain Hindsight, but you don't know what happens later on in the game, right? Like, you could be winning these games later on. Like, and it's not, you put the, flip the coin and you're the winner, or like you're in control at the end of the game and these other teams are chasing you. So like that's the one thing that I want to see from them. And I think they can do it, but I guess it opens up the question, do you then kind of depart from what you've been doing and put the ball in the air more to start these games and not run the football as much as you have been? And that's kind of the trade-off you get. Or this is what I think could be a huge weapon for LaFleur going into the playoffs, because of how run-heavy they've been. I think you could play action teams to death in the first quarter. I really think you can, because the percentages and the tendencies are so heavy to turn around and hand the ball to Jacobs that these D coordinators and these D-line coaches and linebacker coaches are just preaching to these guys during the week. Here are the numbers. These are the numbers. They're handing it off. They're handing it off. They're handing it off. And they're flying downhill, and that's what they're thinking. So if you show that action, that's what they are thinking. And if you run and you're running play action, guys are going to be open. So, like, I'm hoping that's what we see early on in games is play action, because, like, I think it's going to be there. Like, I really do. But we'll see. Like, and because we just haven't seen that early in games, right? Like, I continue to think it's going to happen, right? Like, we run the ball with Jacobs early in the game. Like, that the Vikings game is a perfect example, right? Like, run the ball, we're progressing it. Then I think right before he fumbles it, we're going to get a couple play actions. And Minnesota's got a bite on it, and we're going to get a play action down the field. And it just never came. But, like, I don't know if LaFleur's saving it. I don't know what it is, but like, I continue to think it's going to happen, and it just hasn't happened yet. Because I think if he does, now you get these defenses on their heels a little bit, and that's what I'm waiting to see.
And let's remember, too, that they have gotten behind in all their games against good teams, right? 28-0 against the Vikings, 24-3 against the Lions in the first game. Now, in fairness, they did come back in the second Lions game. They actually had a 28-24 lead early in the fourth quarter. That was more of the back-and-forth game but they still dug themselves a 10-point hole. So to your point, whatever you have to do, I personally am not a fan of taking the ball. I understand the mentality Matt has, but I want my defense to be able to get a 3-and-out or maybe a 6-and-out stop and get me, so I know I'm getting the ball to start the second half. I don't give up points to start the game. That's obviously ideal. I just think that there's some risk involved, because especially on the road, we want the ball and we're going to score. When you don't and you go 3-and-out, now the fans are already whipped into a frenzy because their defense has been on the field first and they're being loud, and now suddenly you've kind of given away the momentum out of the chute. So it was not It worked sometimes, other times it didn't. As Matt LaFleur says about decisions, well, if it works out, then it was the right decision, and if it doesn't work out, then it was the wrong one, which is not how decisions work. All right, we've got Bryan in as our cousin sub of the day. We're already smarter because of it. We don't have Tausch, but Tausch and Sarah still have this great thing going on with AmFam and the AmFam Children's Hospital. It is still the season of giving, Badgers fans or Hawkeyes fans or whatever you may be a fan of. And this year you can double your impact for the thousands of children receiving top-notch care at American Family Children's Hospital. Tausch's wife Sarah and he are teaming up with American Family Insurance to raise funds for the American Family Children's Hospital virtual toy drive. All the proceeds go toward therapeutic play supplies for pediatric patients, and American Family Insurance is matching the donations up to $50,000. So go to AmFam4, the number 4, kids.org to donate today. Again, that's AmFam4kids.org to donate today. More with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's makes the good stuff for good times. Find recipes, videos, and more at titosvodka.com.
Mark Tosher here for Pizza Hut, where the number 7 just got luckier. You already know how much I love Pizza Hut, but have you heard about Pizza Hut's $7 Deal Lovers menu? Enjoy all your Pizza Hut favorites like pizza, boneless wings, melts, cheese sticks, and more for just $7 each when you buy 2 or more. With the $7 Deal Lovers menu, you don't have to choose between great taste and great value. You can have a both. Order on the app or online at pizzahut.com. The $7 Deal Lovers menu, only at Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Oh, well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Listen to Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin on 100.5 ESPN.
Matt LaFleur, I would really love to see him level out and be more even-keeled. Every time the camera pans over, it looks like somebody stole his dog. I don't know what else to tell you.
Wilde and Tausch, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by Grassland Dairy, Home and Lindsay Paints, Coors Light, Made to Chill, and American Family Insurance.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
There's a good chance if you watch sports, you're getting served information about hormone optimization. What does that even mean? Dr. Nestor Rodriguez at Carbon World Health can tell you exactly what hormone optimization means. He will take your blood work and let you know if it's right for you. If you're feeling sluggish, not losing weight like you used to, you're not gaining muscle like you used to, or you just don't feel like yourself in most aspects of your life, go see Dr. Nestor Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. In fact, sign up for the 6-week experience so you can see everything that Carbon World Health has to offer, including hormone optimization. Learn more at carbonworldhealth.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison. Summer will sound a little different on ESPN Madison next year.
For Jackson Chorio.
This is Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
I say go, baby, go, go, go. Oh, I say go till you can't go. No more, no more. I say go, baby, go, go, go. I've been to a place where the drifters go. It brought me trouble, yeah, it brought me low. Time was flying, but I was rooted in my blues. When I looked up, all I saw was myself. Standing in my own way, nobody else but me.
We'll get to some of your texts on the carbless talk and text line. Lists is more. We'll get more texts, I'm sure, as the show goes on with questions for Bryan. But it's time now, as we do every Friday before a Packers Sunday game, for the Green and Gold game preview.
Let's take a closer look at this week's matchup. This is the Green and Gold game preview.
No Tausch, no problem. The Green and Gold game preview as we get set for the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears on Sunday at Lambeau Field, closing out the 2024-25 regular season. Bryan Bulaga, what is the big storyline for you heading into this weekend's game?
Well, I think the big storyline for me is who is playing and for how long. And I think that kind of determines for the Green Bay Packers the outcome of the football game, right? I think if you play Jordan Love for only a couple quarters, I mean, I trust Malik Willis. He's won a lot of football games for the Packers. Yeah, I mean, they can still win. But if you start pulling out star, running backs and star linemen and star DBs and defensive linemen, you're going to, kind of hurt yourself a little bit to win the football game. So I think who plays and how much is going to be a big thing for how Green Bay handles this game.
Yeah, for me, it's get out of the game healthy. Obviously, you want to win the game. But if, let's say that things stay interesting at AT&T Stadium in what could be Mike McCarthy's last game as the Cowboys coach, if things stay close, then you're going to keep playing your guys because you want to win and get that 6th seed, and that does come with some risk. I understand you can't play the game not to get hurt. I get it, but the idea that you are in the playoffs, you will have won 12 games if you beat the Bears, and on some play, somebody lands wrong on Josh Jacobs, and he gets a high ankle sprain that he cannot play through, that would be a problem for Packers in the postseason. So, to me, the biggest storyline is, yes, get the win, get to 12 wins, get to be able to keep those bragging rights over the Bears. That's all well and good, but get out of the game healthy is most important. Jesse, what's next?
Besides Jordan Love, which player is most important for the Packers to have success on Sunday afternoon? Bryan Bulaga.
Ooh, good question. I think, because I think Chicago, in order to win this football game, they're going to have to run the ball. So I look at it more for me as a position group. I think the defensive line is going to have to play is going to have to play a good game. And again, this kind of goes back to what I said is how much is Kenny Clark going to play? I don't know. So guys behind Kenny are going to have to step up and play really well. Because I think Chicago has to run the ball to beat Green Bay. It's probably going to be really cold. Caleb Williams throwing in Lambeau when it's really cold out. Haven't experienced yet. Going to have to figure that out. So I think the front four is going to have to play a really good game to get this thing done.
And they're due I mean, they have had some games on occasion where they've played well, but that's a good one. I'm going to go to the other side of the football, though, and talk about the offensive line. You just got done talking about how the Bears, they have plenty of shortcomings on their roster, but they do have a solid defense, and they can get after the quarterback and stuff the run with their guys up front. So, we talk about feeling better about how you're playing going into the postseason. I think the offensive line needs a pick-me-up after the way things went in Minneapolis. They want to be able to say, okay, we got back to being ourselves. We're ready now for the playoffs. Let's go after it. So I think it's going to be the offensive line as the position group, since Brian and I are bending the rules.
Leave it to you guys to bend the rules the second you get the opportunity. Final question.
Yes or no?
Final question in our green and gold game preview. Yeah, it does feel that way. The Packers beat the Bears on Sunday, and Matt LaFleur remains undefeated as the Packers head coach against the Chicago Bears. If blank. Brian, how do you fill in the blank?
If they score more points, I mean, isn't that what, like, isn't that...
All right, cut his mic. We finally reached a point where Bryan Bulaga said something that didn't make us smarter, made us dumber.
I would say if... I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I mean,
all
I
right,
guess
here. Let me help you out here, Blue, and then you can contemplate your answer.
Turnovers.
Okay.
So yeah, that is a popular answer that we outlawed. I would say this because, and again, I want to bring up 2021. The offense did not play well in that game, knowing it was coming out at halftime, and so the backups inherited a deficit. It was 17-13 at the half. And then it was the backups that had to try and rally. So the Packers win this game if Jordan Love and the starters can pass off a lead to the backups in the second half that then Malik Willis and the defense just have to hold on to. And that's how the Packers win this game. And that would also mean,
Jason,
technically, that they would also have scored more points, which is also how you win the game.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I second that. I second all of that. That's fantastic. Well said.
Score more points.
He's not the best in the business for nothing, folks.
And turnovers, Jesse. And turnovers.
Yeah.
And
fits
turnovers.
Right in here in the
Win
green and gold game
battle.
preview.
All right, that is our green and gold game preview. I do want to ask you one thing, Brian, before we move forward, because we've got some other stuff planned. What have you thought? I know you're not a quarterback guru like Tom Clements, but what have you thought of Caleb Williams when you've watched him? You obviously have friends that are Bears fans, having grown up in Chicago. I know he went a long time without throwing an interception. He's also been sacked more times this season than I think Aaron Rodgers has in his career, and Aaron Rodgers just set the career record for most sacks. That's how often it seems like he's been sacked. What have your kind of impressions been of Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I mean, it is so hard to judge him because I think his offensive line is really bad, and you can blame the offensive line for a lot of things, and he's also part to blame because he, unfortunately, still hasn't learned that you can't hold on to this thing forever, right? Like, you can't hold on to the ball forever. You're not running away from these defensive linemen. Some quarterbacks can, right? Like Josh Allen does, Lamar Jackson does.
Right.
Aaron, for a long time, was able to do it, like escape and figure out ways to get out and do things like that. Mahomes was able to do it for a long. There's guys you figure out ways to do it. Jaden Daniels is doing it, but he doesn't seem like the type of guy that is figuring that out, and so he's taking a lot of these hits and sacks. But it's been hard to judge him. But I think when you've seen him play well and you've seen him comfortable or they've played teams that aren't great defenses or great pass rushing teams where the offensive line could handle themselves, I think he's been okay. I think there's a lot of potential there, right? And I think if you give him the right head coach or the right system, right? I think he needs an offensive head coach. He needs a certain type of scheme. So, like, you're looking at, I mean, for me, he needs a LaFleur, a McVay, Shanahan type scheme, like a Ben Johnson type scheme. Like, that's what he needs. He needs that type of system to really help him develop and grow as a quarterback. McConnell, they're all in that same tree. That's where all those guys are coming from to develop these quarterbacks. And that's why these teams, you look at these teams mostly, that's why these teams are really good offensively, because they're all from the same tree. But I think that's what he needs. And obviously an upgrade on the offensive line is more than necessary. I mean, they have the most cap space. They got a bunch of picks. They need to do something with that. But from his standpoint, I think the potential's there. I think the talent's there. It's just, does the organization make the right decisions to get him there? And that's I guess the big question.
And who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, do you have any confidence that they'll do it? I really don't. Like, I sent my buddies who are all Bears fans some report or some rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that, like, the GM is, like, trying to talk ownership out of, going
out of
after
Ben Johnson. Right.
Yeah. Like, why? And again, I don't know if that's true or not. Like, I have no idea. But, like, why would you ever do that? Right? Like, that guy could be the best thing for your quarterback. But, like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, that would be the most Bear thing ever. Like, to go away from the best offensive coach that you possibly could. So, like, it's just one of those things that if the organization allows, you know, a great coach to come in and do things, you know, the way he wants to do them, and bring in his type of people and bring in his type of guys and do that, I think Caleb Williams can be a good quarterback. But if you just continue to go about things the same old way, well, we'll be talking about this again in 3 years. And we'll be down the same path again.
I want to get to something that Matt LaFleur said earlier in the week because it ties into the Bears. We'll get to that and hear from him next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Mark Tosher here, wishing you a happy holiday season from the great team at Hallman Lindsay Paints. Stick around for Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints. If finishing or starting a new paint project is one of your resolutions for the new year, then I recommend you do what my family did and trust the pro painters at Hallman Lindsay. Stop into any of Hallman Lindsay's Madison area location, ask to get in touch with a pro painter, and the experienced team will work with you to find the perfect pro for what your project calls for. After all, Wisconsin's best painters use Wisconsin's best paint. And don't forget, there's only one paint in Wisconsin made for Wisconsin's weather, and that's Hallman Lindsay Paint. Happy holidays from Hallman Lindsay. Great paint, great people, and stay tuned to enjoy Feel Good Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Wisconsin women's hockey continuing their weekend series with Ohio State. Their stage, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, a pairing of the nation's top two teams and the last two national champs. The cherry on top for senior Kelly Gorpatenko, her personal ties to the game.
What I'm most excited for is just to play in front of all my family and friends. I probably have about 50 people coming to the games, but also just like it brings you back to when you're a kid, like when you're playing on, the outdoor rinks and the ponds. It's where you really that's where I fell in love with the game, and I'm excited to kind of go back and be able to do that in front of my, hometown.
4:30 puck drop Saturday on Big Ten Network.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Whether you're an artist playing accountant, a barista trying to be a bean counter, or a student just looking to get started, the UW Credit Union app lets you be free to be you. With free credit scores, free online bill pay, and the ability to send money to friends. Because with fewer fees, you can do more of what you love. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Get your hydration on track with Water Joe. Water Joe has 0 calories, 0 sugars, 0 artificial sweeteners, and 0 carbs. Get a liter of Water Joe at your local Kroger, Pick and Save, or Metro Market for just 99 cents now until January 5th. Just purified water infused with a kick of caffeine. It's a great alternative to sugary sodas, sugary coffee, or energy drinks. Get that liter of Water Joe for 99 cents through January 5th at your local Kroger, Pick and Save, or Metro Market.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. One call, that's all.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind.
As is usually the case when we have Bryan Bulaga on the show, we're running late already. It's not your fault, that's me. I'm not blaming you. I blame Tausch when we're running late when you're not on, because it's always his fault. But I wanted you to hear this, because I asked Matt LaFleur, because I thought it's an interesting juxtaposition, right? These guys last year are sitting at 3-6, and it could have spiraled. It could have. Very easily could have, right? Young guys, inexperienced, first-year starting quarterback. Not a rookie, but first-year starting quarterback. A defensive coordinator that guys had lost faith in. Things could have gotten bad, and they didn't. The Bears, on the other hand, things have spiraled. And I wanted to get, and I don't know if Matt LaFleur knew the juxtaposition I was making, but I was curious how he prevented that death spiral for the 2023 season. And here is how that exchange went.
Matt, you mentioned the adversity that the Bears have gone through. Obviously, you went through some last year, a lot actually. When you're in a situation like that, for you as a coach, what are the keys to getting out of it? Like, things
I think you just got to try to stay as resilient as you possibly can, and you got to show up with a great just energy each and every day and just keep working, because you just don't know when it's going to flip. And there's great examples, I think, every year of teams that have gone through some adversity and come out the other side. And like I said a year ago, I thought we were, it's tough in the moment, but if you can get to the other side of that, you're usually better for it. But you got to stay resilient and keep working.
Do you have to, as a coach, I'm not saying you need to coddle guys because they're struggling, but do you have to kind of weigh, all right, I'm going to get after them this much, I got to keep it positive in other ways to kind of get things around?
Yeah, I think you, as a coach, you always have a responsibility to be honest with where you are at with the situation and how you're performing and all this. But at the same time, I think confidence, whether it's in football or in any aspect of life, is a real thing. And you want to try to build people up and make them, sometimes you believe more than they believe. And if somebody is struggling, you just got to find a way to try to reach them and get them to see what you might see in them.
Bryan, my question is, because you were on some teams that were resilient with Mike McCarthy, when you look at the Bears from the outside looking in, do you believe that they will get it figured out? Or is it hard to predict because you don't know who the coach is going to be? You don't know what exactly they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, you would like to believe that they'll figure it out, right? Like, I mean, the Lions figured it out, right? But, like, they made a great hire in Dan Campbell, right? Like, they made a great hire in Dan Campbell. So, like, but look how long it took the Lions, right? Like, it took the Lions, 40 years? Like, honestly, like, I mean, it took them forever to figure it out. But they did. They got it figured out. And now they're a really good team. And it looks like from a franchise and organization standpoint, they got it figured out. Chicago's kind of and I've said this, like, since Lovie Smith has gone down this path, right? Since, what was it, Jason? They got rid of him in 2011? They got rid of Lovie?
11 or 12, yeah. After going 10-6, by the way.
Yeah, after going 10-6, they got rid of Lovie, and this is the road they've been down. And so we're looking at what this is, and it's the same pattern, right? Like, hire a coach, draft a quarterback, 3 years, fire the coach, draft another and this is it, right? So if they make a good hire, I think they can pull themselves out of it. And if they don't, we're just gonna repeat the cycle again, right? And that's kind of where they're at. So I think they have good veteran players in that locker room that can aid in that can aid in helping a good coach kind of pull themselves out of it, right? Like, you look at who they have defensively. They got some good guys on that side of the ball. They got some good veteran players on the offensive side of the ball. They have a young quarterback that, like I said earlier, that I think has some talent that if you kind of nurture that a little bit, I think he can turn himself into I don't know if an elite quarterback. Because there's no evidence of that right now. It's hard to judge that. But he could turn himself into a good quarterback. But you got to bring in the right coach. You got to bring in and change the culture, and that is way harder, than people think. Like, they think it's just bringing in a guy and he talks tough and runs a hard practice, and that's a culture changer. No,
well, let me interrupt you, because you ended up with some experience, right? Because you played for Mike for as long as you did. Then Matt LaFleur comes in for your last year in Green Bay, and then you go to the Chargers. Like, you experienced 3 different coaches. Not every, Tausch only played for 2. Tausch never played outside of Green Bay. You experienced it, and I'm not asking you to drag your Chargers coach, but he was not the right guy for the job. Now they got Harbaugh, and now they're winning, right? That it does matter. So again, we'll see who they hire, but that you got that experience firsthand.
Yeah, I did. And the thing was, if you remember, I had 4, because when I got there, it was Anthony Lynn.
Oh, that's right.
It was Anthony Lynn, and then it was Staley, and now it's Harbaugh. So they've gone through, so many head coaches in so many years, and now with Harbaugh, obviously he is a culture change guy. He is a complete culture change
and a quarterback
guy.
guy.
Yes, exactly, and a quarterback guy. And you look at, Anthony Lynn's on staff in Washington, doing a really good job with what he's asked to do in Washington with the run game, and I think Staley's in San Francisco. I don't know if he is or not. I think he is. But not everyone's meant, and this is not a shot at Brandon, but not everyone's meant to be a head coach. It is not easy managing everybody. It is not an easy gig, man. And then when you're a play caller on top of it, it's not easy to do it. And that's just the reality of it. And in a place like Chicago, or even Detroit, I mean, you look at Campbell, he's not calling any plays, right? So
right.
He has he's got his hand on everything there. Which I think is why that team is kind of playing so well, and they've turned it around because he's not in one side of the ball. He's kind of everywhere, and Dan Campbell's footprint and handprint are everywhere, and that's why they all kind of behave and act the same way, and it shows. And I think that's what Chicago needs, but they're not going to get that. I mean, they need an offensive-minded guy to help Caleb Williams. That's what they need. Because if you go in and you bring in another defensive guy, it's you can't. You got to bring in someone like a Ben Johnson or I don't even know. But we'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
There were rumors that Jim Harbaugh, who quarterbacked the Bears, wanted to be the Bears coach. And it makes you wonder what this season might have looked like with him coaching Caleb Williams. All right, we got Bryan for another 2 hours as our cousin sub of the day. I want to get to some of your questions. Some of Jesse's favorite dwellers in the YouTube comments have also submitted some questions. You can submit them via the Carbless talk and text line. Text us 844-770-3776. Want to remind you, Tausch tells you about Fortrea clinical trials all the time. Right now they have a bunch of studies going on. Tausch and I would qualify for this. I think Bryan, his BMI is too low at this point. He looks like a tight end. So healthy, overweight adults ages 18 to 65 with a body mass index between 27 and 40 are qualified for this current study. It involves 2 separate stays totaling 65 overnights, number 65, Mark Tauscher, and 6 outpatient visits, compensation up to $27,463 for time and participation. They also have studies looking for healthy adults 18 to 60. Women can be of childbearing potential. BMI between 18.5 and 30. That's 1 stay of 11 nights plus 2 follow-up visits. Compensation for that one is $7,104. Learn more at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's Fortrea, Fortrea, clinicaltrials.com. We'll start the 10 o'clock hour tardy in 2 minutes. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. The Green Bay Packers getting set to host the rival Chicago Bears in the Week 18 regular season finale Sunday afternoon at Lambeau Field. Kickoff is set for noon, televised on Fox. Packers have opened as 10-point favorites, according to ESPN Bet. It appears the starters are going to play. Head coach Matt LaFleur said that earlier this week. Running back Josh Jacobs sharing that same message yesterday in the locker room.
I feel like if I was battling with something right now, it would be more of a decision like, okay, do I want to play, do I not? But for me, man, I mean, what I bring to this team with, the energy and the tone set and things like that, I think it's important for the guys to see me out there. And I feel like, if Jordan's playing and all these other guys are playing, then I need to be out there too.
A Packers win and a Commanders loss to the Cowboys. The Packers would move up to be the 6th seed in the NFC playoff picture. If neither of those things happen, then the Packers will remain in the 7 spot, likely with a trip to Philadelphia in the wild card round. More speculation, Jason Wilde and Bryan Bulaga in for Tausch. Next on Wilde and Tausch.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. We'll get to our prize picks for the weekend here momentarily. Quick question for you, Brian. Are you a hat guy, and do you ever go backwards hat? I'm inspired by Dan Quinn because you don't see head coaches go backwards hat very often. He has stayed true to himself. He's going backwards hats. I was a catcher back in the day. I like backwards hats, even though I'm a middle-aged man now. Are you a hat guy, A, and do you ever wear it backwards, B, on the farm?
I am a hat guy. I like wearing it. I mean, I play a lot of golf, so I like wearing a hat. When I'm out at the farm, I wear a hat when I'm working out there, so I do wear a hat. Backwards, I look bad with a backwards hat, so I don't wear it backwards. Like you look good wearing it backwards, so like you're fine. I look terrible with a backwards.
Thanks a lot.
So,
well, how do you look terrible with a backwards hat? What does that? What does that look like? Can you get a hat in the break?
Yeah, I'll find one on the break. I just look bad. Like I don't know what it is. I just look like I don't like I've looked at myself with it. I just look stupid. So like I just don't wear it backwards. But no, I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I find no issue with a backwards hat.
Just that you look stupid. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I do. It's me personally. It's not an overall backwards hat thing. It's a me thing. So so I just don't do it.
All right. See, there's one to grow on. Time now for our prize picks for the week.
I hope I don't look stupid with some of the picks that I made last night putting this together. We've been hot on prize picks. You guys know that. Tausch and I have had a pretty good streak of it as of late. I've been reading these college football playoff games like a book, so I've been on fire with some of these selections.
Yeah, at Ohio State going up like 31-0. Did you?
Travion Henderson, I did have over more rushing yards for him. That was a big success. I got a so Prize Picks has their injury insurance. Jordan James of Oregon got the reboot on him in the Rose Bowl on whatever day that was. All the days are the same.
Too bad Oregon couldn't.
Yeah, they needed a reboot. All right, so these are some real stat line projections courtesy of our friends at Prize Picks. I will tell you the projections that I have already selected. You tell me if you think I have it right or wrong. This is usually, Brian, I ask Jason and Tausch for their opinion on this, but because I've been so good at this lately, we're mixing it up this time, and now I'm just going to tell you what I think, and you can say, that's a great pick, Jesse, with smart play.
That's the Jessiest thing ever.
Well, it's been easy.
Okay.
Caleb Williams, I took less than 200.5 passing yards for Sunday's game. That offense has seemed disinterested the last few weeks, so I took less than 200.5 points. Or passing yards, I should say. You like that pick, Brian?
Yeah, I do. I feel good about that. I mean, I think it's going to be cold. I think it's going to be very, like you said, disinterested. I don't think the line's really going to want to play. I think at last game of the season, it's always the same with the D linemen. They want to get their stats up. There's normally, I don't know if Green Bay does it, but a lot of the times there's a lot of incentives that get put on the line, sack incentives, and that's where guys chase incentives at the end of the year. I don't know if Green Bay does that, but this is when guys want to get those last end of the season stat pushes. So I think under is a good call.
I hope he ends up with 201 passing yards, so you're wrong after you take less. That's what I'll be rooting for on Sunday.
Not very nice.
Who's next?
You know I'm right, though. Jordan Love, less than 0.5 interceptions. So I got Jordan Love not throwing an interception against the Bears defense on Sunday.
Is his last interception against the Bears?
I think so.
I think it is.
So he's been clean. I don't think he's going to play the entire game. And so for that reason, I like less than 0.5 interceptions. Brian?
Yeah. I like it too. I mean, he's been playing clean, so like I got to take it too. I'm good with that.
I think he's going to throw a pick. I think Gary Ellerson's in his head. He's itching to take some risks. And so he's going to throw one. It's going to get deflected off of Jaden Reed's shoulder pad, and it's going to be a pick. So I'm going to go more.
A lot of running the football, I think, on Sunday. DeAndre Swift of the Bears, more than 63.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. So that counts out of the backfield passes, or receiving yards. 63.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I took more. Brian, do you like the pick?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to have a big day for them to have a chance. I mean, I think.
Are they even interested in winning the game? Like, they looked totally disinterested against the Lions a couple of weeks ago. Like, I don't know if they're even interested in winning.
No, I mean, probably not. But, I mean, guys still have some pride. And if the thing is, like, if you let them hang around long enough, they're gonna care. Like, if you let them stick around long enough in the game, they're gonna care.
You're right.
And that's the thing. That's the thing you got to be careful with a team like this. Like, you can make them quit really quick, but if you give them a reason to care, they're gonna care. So, like, if you give Swift a reason to go over the 63.5, which I think you will regardless, right? Like, I mean, they use him a lot, and you're in the fourth quarter and the guy's got over 100 total, that means they're probably in the game. So, like, that's just the way it goes.
I'm going to go less. Packers are going to shut him down. He had 84 total yards in the first meeting, and 39 of it came on that touchdown that got out the gate, and Xavier McKinney missed the tackle and then threw his helmet and the Microsoft Surface tablet on the sideline. That's not happening again. I'm going less.
I can now no longer tell if you're just doing this to be opposite of me or if you actually believe these are
maybe
the things that are going to
both.
happen.
Perhaps a little bit of both, yeah.
Last one in the interest of time. Anytime Chris Brooks shows up on Prize Picks, I feel like I owe it to him to make a selection. Chris Brooks, the third-string Packers running back, more than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. So I think Chris Brooks gets in the end zone on Sunday. Brian, you want to join that club?
No.
Why not?
I just don't. It's going to be the number one or number two, and that's what it's going to be, and that's
I'm with Brian. But what I really want to see is a replay of what he did earlier in the season where he could run in for a touchdown, but they're running out the clock, so he unselfishly lays down short of the goal line when you could have gotten that one right, and he instead gives himself up, and he ends up with less than 0.5 touchdowns.
It'd be very rude.
What wouldn't be rude is for you to tell us about your love of Prize Picks.
I love Prize Picks. I've been successful playing Prize Picks. It is a lot of fun. And this time of year reminds me of when I first got started playing Prize Picks along with Old T just a couple of years ago. This is a great time to hop in. Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks, the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states and the best place to get real money sports action. Join now because Prize Picks is giving away a whole bunch of great opportunities for you to win. Check it out right now. And remember, use promo code WI, like Tausch always says, to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app, use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I always wanted to do this. Prize Picks. Run your game. Ha-ha, we did it. Nicely done.
Our Steinhoffel Sleepers of the Week are next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here, wishing you happy holidays that are merry and bright from the great team at Everlight Solar. 'Tis the season to take back control over your energy bill by making the switch to solar. My family, we trusted the team at Everlight Solar to help us make the switch. And from the very beginning, the awesome Everlight team helped educate us on all the benefits of switching to solar. As they explained things along the way, the process was super easy. Make it your resolution to make the switch to solar energy. Join our family in creating a greener environment for ourselves and for our community. Save money and help save the planet by making the switch to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com. And happy holidays from the entire team at Everlight Solar.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If you're the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold gets you close to a championship, if they get to a conference championship or better, if they're in the Final Four, how could you not trade J.J. McCarthy away and get as many assets as you can to allow your team to take advantage of this window that you have with this current core of players with Sam Darnold as a trigger man?
Unsportsmanlike, weekdays from 5 to 9 on 100.5 ESPN.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
It's a battle in the Badger Large. Join me, Hunter Vaughn, and the Dean of Area High School Sports, Dennis Summerout, tonight at 7 o'clock as the young and scrappy Edgewood Crusaders host the high-flying and high-scoring, undefeated Mount Horeb Vikings. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock right here on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Come see what the buzz is all about at Madison Axe, Madison's state-of-the-art entertainment spot. Enjoy 8 lanes of axe throwing, craft beer, interactive games, plus digital target projection and scoring. For even more fun, check out their indoor backyard with 2,000 square feet of shuffleboard, cornhole, yard games, bar table games, and more. Perfect for date night, groups, corporate meetings, or private events. Madison Axe is your destination for all things fun. Throw it, nail it, celebrate. Go to MadisonAxe.com or head to their location on Stoughton Road today.
We're on the Packers playoff push.
They are not the regular season juggernaut team that we've seen in the past.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
A lot of regular season juggernaut teams fell short of their goals.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Got Rob Demovsky coming up next. But before that, time for our Steinhafels Sleepers of the Week, presented by Steinhafels. And Steinhafels' New Year's 5-day sale ends on Sunday. take an extra $100 off your purchase of $1,999 or more and get incredible deals like Beauty Rest mattresses for just $299 and sofas starting at just $399. Plus, make your new room that much more affordable with no interest until 2030 when you use Steinhaffel's 60-month financing. No money down, no hidden fees. Shop Steinhaffel's New Year's 5-day sale now through Sunday in-store and online at steinhaffels.com. Time now for our Steinhaffel Sleepers of the Week.
Don't sleep, you gotta stay up.
Hey there, sleepyhead. Wakey, wakey.
Okay, campers, rise and shine.
It's time for the Steinhoffel Sleepers of the Week on Wilde and Tausch.
It is time for the Steinhoffel Sleepers of the Week. Tausch has gotten his in a very timely manner as opposed to Jesse. He has selected Kingsley Enagbare as his Steinhoffel Sleeper of the Week. Jesse, since you feel like you have been wronged so many times by the 565 analytics firm, obviously Bryan gets first pick on his Sleeper of the Week, but then you may go second. I will defer to you since you've been so egregiously aggrieved on this program.
I appreciate that sportsmanship. It's very kind of you, Jason.
That's what I do. All right, Bryan, who's your Sleeper of the Week?
My Sleeper of the Week. So, who I think is going to have a huge impact on this game, and Jesse, I hope you're not thinking this guy, but I think he's been a godsend to this team. And I think my Sleeper of the Week is McManus. I think he goes like 4 for 4 or something crazy this game and goes off for the G&G. That is my Sleeper this week.
I talked to him for about 10 minutes this week, and it was a very good conversation, but it was really funny because he admitted that there were guys on the team when he made those game-winning field goals earlier this year after he first signed and went back-to-back, that guys didn't know his name. He was just the kicker. And now he does believe that everyone knows his name. So good for Brandon. He is your Steinhoffel Sleeper of the Week. All right, Jesse, who you got?
Most underrated move of the year for the Packers, signing Brandon McManus. And I don't even know if it's totally underrated. I just, that's been so important, and I don't think it's gotten as much attention as it should have. That hasn't been an issue at all season long. I just said I wanted him in prize picks for a touchdown score. Give me Chris Brooks, running back. I think Josh Jacobs gets out of the game pretty quickly this weekend to save the legs for when he's going to need it against Philadelphia the following week. So give me Chris Brooks getting a lot of second-half action this week is my sleeper.
All right, so Jesse, I guess I have to go to you as the quasi-arbiter of the rules here.
Oh, no, I'm not involved in the rules in this game this year.
What does Malik Willis have to do to be the Sleeper of the Week? Does he have to throw a touchdown pass? Does he have to score a touchdown? Just playing will not be enough.
Yeah, he can't just come in and hand the ball off a bunch and call it a day. He'd have to come in and throw minimum 1 touchdown pass, maybe more, make a few plays that, I don't know if he's got a wow play in him, but you'd know it when you saw that Malik Willis went above and beyond to be a Sleeper of the Week this week. I think it's one of those, you don't know how to qualify it ahead of time, but you'll know it if you see it.
All right, well, I'm going to take him. I'm going to take the chance, and we'll see.
Score more points than the other team in order to win.
Well, I mean, that's a good start. Yeah, I mean, that's a great start.
That would be good for him. All right, I'm going to take Malik Willis, the Packers' backup quarterback, who may or may not get an opportunity for extended opportunity to play in Sunday's game. All right, those are our Steinhoffel Sleepers of the Week, presented by Steinhoffels. You can submit yours via the YouTube comments. You can do it certainly via Twitter as well, and on Facebook too. All right, we need to get to Rob Demovsky. Did you guys ever play golf together? You and Rob?
No.
Not once.
I don't think so.
You know how you win when you play golf? You require fewer strokes than your opponent. Unless, of course, you're playing with your handicap, then maybe you still have more strokes, but you still win. We'll talk to Rob Demovsky next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut. Going back to the days when I was a kid participating in the Book It program, I've always loved Pizza Hut. Now I love picking up delicious food from Pizza Hut as I make new memories with my family. And one of the great things about Pizza Hut is the number 7, as in their $7 Deal Lovers menu. You can now enjoy all your Pizza Hut favorites like pizza, boneless wings, pasta, melts, cheese sticks, desserts, and more for just $7 each when you buy 2 or more. Want a medium one-topping pizza? A chicken, bacon, Parmesan melt? Chocolate donut bites? Order them all for just $7 each. How about an order of 8-piece boneless wings? Chicken Alfredo pasta? $7 each. Order on the app or online at pizzahut.com. The $7 Deal Lovers menu, only at Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hold your friends close and your rivals closer on Jim, Matt, and Molly.
Which program is more dysfunctional, the Wisconsin Badgers or the Chicago Bears? I'm just relating it back to this weekend. I'm just relating it back.
I'm a fan of both.
Jim's 2 favorite teams. It's Jim's fault. Like, these teams are the reason they are the way they are because of Jim.
Jim is a football curse. Yeah, maybe.
Jim, Matt, and Molly. Presented by Coors Light. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation, gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee for Steinhoffels. Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Wisconsin and the Green Bay Packers to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer all across Wisconsin. This season, every time the Packers make a field goal, Steinhoffels will donate $1,000 to Special Spaces Wisconsin. Steinhoffels has been Wisconsin's furniture and mattress leader since 1934, is 100% employee-owned, and is a proud partner of the Green Bay Packers.
Ben Bruss here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owned. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Mark your calendars. Professional volleyball is coming to Madison with First Serve on January 17th. Led by Madison's newest pro team, Love Madison Volleyball. Get ready for nonstop action as some of the world's best players take the court. Featuring Olympic medalists Lauren Carlini and Annie Drew Schumacher, Love Madison is ready to compete for the season's first championship title. Get your tickets now for this historic first season. Visit lovb.com today. Volleyball is the next major league.
Football season. Best time of the year and my favorite time of the year. This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. On game days, my favorite teammate is a cold carbless in my hand. Premium cocktails in a can made right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's when I'm at the tailgate ahead of kickoff or getting ready at home for the game. Carbless is there. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Carbless features classic cocktails like margarita, Paloma, and even Moscow Mule, and vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, lemon, and peach. Find it on your next grocery trip. Carbless. Less is more.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. One call, that's all.
We're on the Packers playoff push.
The Green Bay Packers are still struggling to have an identity.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
Internally, I think Matt LaFleur is still trying to chase who he is going to be and what type of way he wants to coach.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Time now for a man who I read every word he writes. Unlike Tausch, who does not read every word I write. It is ESPN NFL Nation Zone. Rob Demovsky on Wilde and Tausch. Rob, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are great. When are we going to get you and Bryan on the course together?
Well, so we never actually played together, but one time I did play right in a group right behind him.
Did you hit right into him?
Well, he was so far away I couldn't reach him, so it was never in danger. I couldn't catch up. But I think you were playing with Fitzy and those guys one time when I was right behind.
So you should have been able to catch us with the cart girl stopping at our hole probably every 10 minutes. So you should have been able to catch us eventually.
It was the off season, so I'm sure you guys were imbibing, if that's the right word.
Yes.
So, Rob, how are you approaching this game? Are you thinking about leaving it in the third quarter? What's your approach to this one against the Bears?
Jason, I don't really get the idea that they have nothing to play for, because they do. They win and Washington loses in the 6th seed. I realize it's not completely in your control, but to say there's nothing to play for in this game, I don't. What would Mike McCarthy say? I don't agree with that premise.
It's convenient, polluted mindset.
Convenient criticism. No, I don't see that. Now, if you look up on the scoreboard and Washington's up 30-0 or whatever, then maybe that changes. But we've talked on many times on the show, Jason. I believe momentum is a real thing. And I think you want to be carrying that in. You don't want to be doubting yourself. You don't want to have people doubting you going into the playoffs.
Do you remember that 2021 finish? You would have been in Detroit for it, where they, LaFleur admitted this week he told the guys, hey, you're only going to play a half. He clearly regretted that. He didn't feel like he got the best out of Rodgers and company by doing that. So you're right. There is something to be gained here. But what was the vibe? Because what he said basically was, it's not why they lost to the 49ers a couple weeks later, but he didn't like the vibe of the team going into the playoffs after he took that approach.
And was that the game that Bakhtiari came back, played 27 snaps, and then never played
and then couldn't
again?
play in the playoffs. Yeah. That was it.
I do agree with Matt in the sense that, it's only the right decision if you end up winning the next game. And I don't know if you didn't win the next game or lost the next game because of the way you approached the finale. There's no way to know that. But
sure.
There's no right or wrong answer. I know you're the helicopter parent beat writer. You don't want anybody getting hurt. I'm a believer in, it's momentum. I think that's important. I get both sides though. I totally get it. But I don't know. I just think if it were me, I'd play my guys.
Yeah, I've talked to Jason about this too. Last night and today, I'm in the boat with you. I'm for carrying momentum into the next week because Philly has already said they're sitting guys, right? They made that very clear already that they're sitting guys. So you can get, because you need some advantage going there, right? We're just saying Dallas doesn't beat Washington and you're going to Philly, right? We'll just assume that. You need some advantage over Philadelphia, because at this point in time, I think Philly's the best team in the NFC. People could disagree. That's okay. That's fine. But you need some type of advantage. So, if that means you're playing your guys to get, a mental advantage that you're playing as, better and you're about as sharp as you can be going there, you got to do it. You got to do something because, at least that's the way I feel about it. I don't know.
Bryan, you and I talked earlier in the week about the 2010 run, and you guys won the last 2 games of the regular season just to get into the playoffs. I would even go back to the third to last game at New England where you guys didn't win, but Aaron was out with the concussion, right? And you almost won the game at New England. I think that might have even been a primetime game if I'm not mistaken. And then you trounced the Giants 45-17. You squeaked by the Bears, but the opener, or the playoff opener, then at Philly maybe feels like you're on a little bit of a run. And I know you really liked the 2014 team and the way that team was playing in the playoffs. And if I'm not mistaken, that team went in with a couple game winning streak as well. I'm finding examples to support my cause. I'm sure there's plenty that, like, Jason brought up that would support the other side. But
well, like, I'll give you a good example, Rob. Like, and this is just me. This is just me personally. Like in 2011. As good as that team was, and I'm not. This is not for anyone else on the team, but this is just me personally. We played. We lost to Kansas City. They were the second to last game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Correct.
Third to last.
Kansas City was.
You guys were 13. So then, you guys were 13-0 going there.
Yeah, so we were 13-0. We lost that game. Then the next week we played. Who did we play the next week?
Chicago.
We won, obviously.
Yeah.
We played Chicago. And then we played Detroit to finish, and no one played against Detroit.
Correct.
Like, he sat a bunch of people.
The game, yeah.
And I was one of the guys to sit because I hurt my knee against Kansas City that game, but I think I played against Chicago, or maybe I didn't. And I sat 2 weeks, so essentially 3 weeks in a row, and then went and played against New York. And I don't know, I can't remember how I played against New York. I don't think I played bad. But I remember taking that field against New York in the playoff game, and you're going against Justin Tuck and Umanura and those guys, and you're like, I haven't played football in a while, and like they've just played, and they're going, and it takes you a little while to get back into the game, and a bunch of starters hadn't played since that Detroit game, and like there's something to be said about playing and going into a playoff game. So like.
Yeah, you did not play. You did not play in that Detroit game. You did not look based on Pro Football Reference. You did not play the last 2 games of that year.
Slacker.
Yeah.
To your point though about 14, Rob, I was just doing this while you and Brian were talking. So the top 3 teams in the NFC in the playoffs in 2014, Seattle was the 1 seed. All 3 were 12-4. For those that, I don't want to spoil your story, which I know is coming out next week, but all 3 teams were 12-4 overall. The Seahawks were 10-2 in the conference. They got the number 1 seed. The Packers were 9-3. The Cowboys were 8-4. And so the Packers needed to win that final regular season game against the Lions to lock up the 2nd seed, because that was back when there was a second bye. So they had a reason to play hard in that game before going into the bye week and then beating Dez caught it and the Cowboys in the divisional round the week after that. So it is a juggling act. But to Rob's point to begin with, like, if Mike McCarthy's team somehow rises up without most of its good players, if we're being honest, and after emptying the bucket against Tampa Bay a couple of weeks ago and then getting trounced by the Eagles last week, if somehow they rise up, and as Matt LaFleur said, Mike does us a favor, then great. But if it's 31-10 in the third quarter, yes, helicopter beat writer is saying, Matt LaFleur, get Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love off the field. Get them out. You're not getting the 6th seed.
No, and I get that. I do. I also think part of it depends on how your game is going.
No doubt.
What if your line is protecting really well and Jordan's not taking any hits and if it's a closer game that you feel like you need to close out for the momentum factor, maybe you leave him in. But if you're up 21-3, the game is certainly not like clinched, but I think you feel like maybe you have enough of a lead that you can still close it out, still go into the postseason with a win.
Talking with ESPN's Rob Demovsky, we've got Bryan Bulaga as our cousin sub of the day today on Wilde and Tausch. Rob, the Pro Bowl balloting came out. Obviously, they get 2 Pro Bowlers that are the free agent pickups in Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, and then Rashawn Gary. Let me ask about Rashawn Gary first, because I have a question for both of you about the other 2 guys. Were you as surprised as Rashawn Gary was that he's a Pro Bowler?
Yeah, I was. Look, I mean, the sack numbers aren't there, and typically, that's what does it. Now, I do think he's playing better of late. I think he's played the run. I mean, the run is not a sexy kind of thing, but I think he's played the run, and they played the run pretty solid most of the year, which is, look, for how many years have we, harped on their run defense. But yeah, I was a little surprised. But look, he's a guy who has maybe built a reputation, has signed a big contract, and it's a little bit of a popularity contest. I mean, heck, you and I both won Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year a couple times. I mean, that's probably more of a popularity contest than
Never thought I'd ever hear you think you won a popularity contest, but that's another discussion for another day.
But I mean, like the Kirby Joseph thing, just like that just throws the whole Pro Bowl to me completely. I mean, he doesn't make the Pro Bowl. He's leading the league with 9 interceptions, but he's got a reputation as maybe a dirty player, so people aren't voting for him. So, I mean, that doesn't mean he shouldn't be a Pro Bowler. So, but yes, I was a little surprised. I was not surprised by McKinney at all. Jacobs, you never know with running backs. I had to be honest with you, I didn't know they took 3, and I believe he was the 3rd. So,
and as I think Gabe Neitzel pointed out, because of the way they do the voting and the switch to the 4-3, not a lot of defensive ends to choose from, which probably also helped Rashawn Gary's chances. All right, here's the question.
And can I just say this real quick? It's interesting, Jason, that you bring that up because the pro football writers they have their own all-pro team, and I think many of these people, not me and not you, but vote in the AP, the big ones, and they actually sent out specific criteria about like positions, here's I'm just gonna read this real quick. In the case of players like Micah Parsons plays defensive end. He is not a linebacker. Likewise for Max Crosby. However, T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh, because they play a 3-4, is an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
So, to me, those guys play the same position, really, but I guess.
As Matt LaFleur so condescendingly explained to me last year, those guys are down linemen in the sub packages. So what I want to ask you both is, you look at what McKinney and Jacobs have done. They have been field tilting players. I'm not putting McKinney in the Woodson class. He's not going to the Hall of Fame just yet. But when you both think back, and Brian, you go first, because I'm wondering if maybe in 2014 when Julius Peppers came along, do you remember guys during your career, you were there for the 19 free agent class with the Smith brothers as well. What do you remember guys coming in and hitting the ground running, both as players and as fits to the locker room, as well as these two seem to have?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like these guys have done so much good for this locker room. I mean, mostly because it was a young locker room. So you bring in 2 guys that are, not just really good football players, but veteran good football players that have accomplished a lot in their short amount of time in the league. I mean, I get they were both new contract guys, but that's, 4th, 5th year guys with really, good resumes. I mean, it does a lot for the locker room. For me, it would be Julius, right? Like, you bring in Julius Peppers, because a lot of us had blocked him, right, and gone against him. And the quarterback has gone against him. And, you understand the type of guy you're bringing in. And all the D linemen, the entire defense, respect a guy like him because they've watched him on tape. They understand what this guy's about. And then you bring him into the locker room, and then you get to meet him and see what he's about and see how he works. And it's like day one, instant respect, not just because of what you've seen or what you've gone against on the field, but now you're seeing it in person and seeing how he works. And it's just like, this guy's the real deal. This is everything I thought this guy would be and more. And I mean, he would probably be the guy I would say, but in 19, the Smith brothers, Amos, those guys did a fantastic job with it as well. I mean, it was a new staff. There was a lot of questions. They came in and fit in fantastically right away too. So it was, but it's hard to group them in with Julius Peppers. It's just really hard to say that they fit in better than Julius. I mean, but at least that's my experience. Now, someone may say something different, but for me, going against Julius for how many years in Chicago, and understanding what he was about, it was a no-brainer for me.
Woodson was an interesting case, Jason, because it didn't exactly start that smoothly. And if I remember correctly, you were a little bit in the middle of that, where McCarthy got mad at you for writing that. What was it, that Woodson didn't want to? Was it that he didn't want to come to the offseason program?
No, that was with Al Harris, who didn't come to the offseason program, and my anonymous source was Al Harris, so I felt pretty good about my sourcing there. But to your point, Tausch talks about it all the time. Like, Charles didn't want to be there. We all knew that, right?
Yeah.
And
it was his only option, other than Tampa, who wanted to play him at safety. I think that was his only option.
And so once he warmed up to this place, and once he felt like, I mean, we saw what he became. You know that, and I know that, and obviously Bryan played with him too. But he did not hit the ground running the way these guys did. And for me, McKinney, and this is what I wanted to ask you, Rob, is, I can admit this since we're on the show here. Those guys are going to win our Tom Mulhern Award because they've been great with us too. But for them to step in the way they have, what's impressed you both on and off the field about the way they've done that?
That they delivered on their contracts. Like, I mean, that's I know sometimes we focus on money too much, but when you are paid the types of free agent monies that they were, I mean, it was the signing bonuses were $12.5 million for Jacobs, and was it $17.5 million for McKinney?
Yeah.
What is that? $29, almost $30 million in signing bonus money that they dish out. I mean, how often does that really work out in the league? It seems like not that often. And there's a variety of reasons. It could be injuries. It could be that it wasn't a good fit. But, like, they went out on a limb. Gutekunst went out on a limb with those guys, and they delivered. And to me, when the production meets the expectation, that's when it's a success. And it just, quite frankly, doesn't happen all that much. I mean, like, just look at, first-round picks. They all don't work out. I mean, how many first-round picks, what were you, Bryan? You were 32nd pick, right? The draft? No, you were
23. Yeah, 23.
How many 23rd overall picks end up playing 10-plus years in the league? Not that many. Like, it's just the expectations don't often meet, what the pre-hype was. And in this case, they did. And I think it's for a number of reasons. One, they both really, really like football. Like, I mean, that's the thing that I think some people forget is that, there have been plenty of players over the years that played football because they were good at it and because it got them, what they wanted in life, but didn't love football. I don't love football, but I love basketball. But these guys love football. Like, there's no doubt about it. And I think that's, to me, when and again, talking to us is not really doesn't translate to, like, success in the field. But you can tell when we talk to these guys that, A, they like football, B, they care about winning, and C, they're good teammates. And I think when you have those three things from especially your highest, look, the young guys are going to look to these guys and say, boy, they paid those guys a lot of money, and look at how they acted. This is how I should act. So I just think that's all. And it's a risk. Like, there is no doubt it is a big risk signing, guys to those types of contracts.
Rob's point, the 23rd overall picks since Bryan was selected, the only two that appear to be any good, both picked by the Vikings, Jordan Addison and Christian Darrisaw. Yeah. Otherwise, lots of disappointment at that 23rd pick since 2010.
Yes, and, like, I guess to Rob's point too, the difference between drafting and free agent, I guess, pickups, which both are a gamble, right? But when you normally draft, you give guys time to, like, assimilate to the culture of the team, right? And they get to get brought in, and the culture they get to grow up in it. Where when you sign guys for big money, right, they're coming from a place that could be a terrible culture, could be a losing culture, it could be whatever, and they're bringing that into your locker room. And Green Bay forever, and this is known around the league. Believe me, I left that locker room, went to a different locker room, not ragging on the Chargers, but, like, you go to a losing culture from a winning culture, people know, like, what how it's like in winning cultures, and they want to ask about it. They want that in their building. And like, when you start bringing those types of things into winning buildings, it's hard to get that mentality out of here and assimilate them into a winning culture. So like, to me, like when you brought those two guys in, the Raiders, losing organization, the Giants, losing organization, but those two guys came in and they understood what the expectations were. So that's hats off to them, but also like the guys in that locker room and the coaching staff. Like there's a lot that goes into that to make those types of things work, or at least would be my opinion to it.
Real quick, I don't know if you were there, Jason, that when after the Saints game, when they clinched the playoffs, if you were talking to McKinney or talking to somebody else, but I asked him, I'm like, why do you think you had the 1 year of the playoffs with the Giants and then you never went back, which goes into my story about building, playoff year after year after year. And he just said, we don't have enough time to get into why we were a 1 year wonder, which speaks to the culture I think Brian's talking about.
Right. Dysfunction, for sure. All right, Rob, cool. I will see you over at Lambeau Field. We always love it when you make time for us. Thanks, buddy.
All right, have a good one. We'll be seeing you.
That is Rob Demovsky. You can read every word he writes on ESPN.com. You got to, a lot of times, wade through their 32-team things, or Bill Barnwell's 50 all-pro players and everything else. So you got to do some scrolling, but it's always worthwhile. All right. I want to get to one other thing with Bryan Bulaga before the top of the hour, even though the top of the hour is already here. We'll get to that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Texas, Ohio State at the Capital One Orange Bowl. Penn State, Notre Dame at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. The semifinals of the college football playoff. Coverage begins next Thursday and Friday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott Garrett and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by The Jump Around. Don't miss new episodes of this exclusive digital show talking all things Wisconsin sports, premiering every Thursday at 12:30, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Wisconsin women's hockey continuing their weekend series with Ohio State. Their stage, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, a pairing of the nation's top two teams and the last two national champs. The cherry on top for senior Kelly Gorbatenko, her personal ties to the game.
What I'm most excited for is just to play in front of all my family and friends. I probably have about 50 people coming to the games. But also it's just it brings you back to when you're a kid, when you're playing on, the outdoor rinks and the ponds. It's where you really that's where I fell in love with the game, and I'm excited to kind of go back and be able to do that in front of my, hometown.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
Whether you're an artist playing accountant, a barista trying to be a bean counter, or a student just looking to get started, the UW Credit Union app lets you be free to be you. With free credit scores, free online bill pay, and the ability to send money to friends. Because with fewer fees, you can do more of what you love. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
One of the best things about the holidays is going home and spending time with family and friends. One of the worst things, getting there. Holiday travel can be tough, especially driving. If your loved one needs help after an accident this holiday season, we're here for you. Our top-notch team of experienced professionals is available 24/7. Be safe this holiday season. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
ESPN Madison is on Wisconsin sports. Catch what you missed on the Varsity Podcast on Wisconsin On Demand, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health Middleton. Keep your performance up and on track in all areas of your life with Game Day Men's Health. Check them out at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Middleton.
It's a new era for Wisconsin football fans.
I want the offense to look like it knows what it's doing. It doesn't look like someone just picked up the controllers and was learning a playbook while they're trying to play the game.
Taking the conversation digital with the Jump Around 3.0.
At this point, the Badgers are metaphorically in football, they're trying to learn to crawl before they can walk and then run again offensively.
The Jump Around with Jim Rutledge, outfitted by Iron Jock Apparel. Streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Wilde and Tausch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's makes the good stuff for good times. Find recipes, videos, and more at titosvodka.com.
All right, we're already running late again, but I want to ask Bryan this question. It comes from Ryan via Twitter. Then we'll get to some from the Carbless talk and text line and even a YouTube question or two. But you have a little bit of experience with this. Not much. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the years you blew out your ACL happened to match up with the years that Rodgers broke his collarbone, right? 13 and 17?
Yep.
So you did not have to suffer through that. Well, I mean, you had to suffer through recovering from your knee injury. But in 17, you suffered that injury before the end of the season. 18, you were trying to win for Joe Philbin after he took over for Mike. But in your time with the Chargers, did you have seasons where they were out of contention going into the last week or so?
Oh yeah, both years.
Okay. So Ryan's
let me take that back. Second year with Staley, we lost to the Raiders, and if we would have beat the Raiders, we would have gotten into the playoffs.
Was that the one where if you guys would have tied, you would have? If you'd have just agreed to tie, you both would have made it?
Yes.
God,
Correct.
what a weird deal that was.
Yeah.
So the reason I ask is Ryan's question for Bryan. Does Big Mike's team have the ability and talent to do us a favor and knock off the Commanders on Sunday? And I just wanted to ask you, how hard is that? Like, hey, in 2022, the Lions came in here under Dan Campbell with nothing to play for, had already been eliminated earlier in the day. Packers had a win, and they were in the playoffs, and they beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers at Lambeau to keep him out of the playoffs in Rodgers' last game as a Packer. So how hard is that for Mike McCarthy's team to do on Sunday?
I mean, it's going to be difficult, and I guess I don't know who's active and inactive for his team, right? I mean, I remember I thought you said there's going to be a lot of guys out for them. I don't know who exactly is in and out. But they can win. I mean, they can certainly get it done. It's not going to be easy. There's a chance. I know Mike is going to have them as ready as they can possibly be to win a football game. He's coaching for his, career, essentially, for him being a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So he's got a lot on the line for himself. So he's putting everything he can into this game. Although I think he's done as much as he possibly could with the roster that he has and the situation he's been dealt this year. But there's a chance, right? And there's also something to be said about Washington overlooking them, just looking to the playoffs and not thinking anything about Dallas coming in. So, there's a possibility. Is it a good one? No, but there's a possibility.
Just like there's a possibility, Jesse, that Tausch will return home and later on tonight crack open a Coors Light, maybe even with you. Maybe you guys are getting together to have Coors Lights together.
I don't think the Badger game is on Peacock tonight, so I don't think he has a great reason to come over and watch it. But if he wants to, we can pop open a couple of Coors Lights together. You know he enjoys the Blue Mountains, and so do I. The Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light, whether you're celebrating your favorite team winning or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. Coors Light brewed with a 3-step cold process. Cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold activated bottles and cans turn blue when chilled to perfection, which besides the refreshing taste is Tausch's favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
In the 11 o'clock hour, we will have our weekend preview. We will have headlines. Whoa, Nelly. We'll get to some of your questions, but I'm scrolling through the Wilde and Tausch YouTube or Twitter feed. I don't see a headline from the Academy.
Oh.
Did I miss it? Or
it is up on the Facebook page. I thought it should be up on the Twitter
Maybe
feed.
you posted it a lot earlier today, but the last thing I see from Wilde and Tausch is, have the Packers lived up to your regular season expectations? And then we get into all of today's content. So if you haven't seen that, well, you're going to be surprised by it. But there is one. The Academy didn't get so mad at me for saying that people like songs better, that they're not boycotting.
They did come through with a headline this week. That's as much as it is up on the Wilde and Tausch Facebook page, which we haven't given the Facebook page enough love lately. So check it out over there. We will get it up on the Twitter feed as well, but it is up on Facebook.
All right, well, we will kick off the 10 o'clock hour or 11 o'clock hour in 2 minutes, so stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
This is Derek Engler. You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania, a Friday night boys basketball showcase. Star junior Josh Manchester leads Mount Horeb on the road against the Edgewood Crusaders. Coverage starts tonight at 7 o'clock on 100.5 ESPN and streaming free on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. The Green Bay Packers getting set for the Week 18 regular season finale, hosting the Chicago Bears Sunday afternoon at Lambeau Field. Kickoff is set for noon. Green Bay listed as a 10-point favorite for Sunday's contest, according to ESPN Bet, in large part because the starters are all expected to play. Head coach Matt LaFleur sharing that information earlier this week. Running back Josh Jacobs named to the Pro Bowl yesterday, reiterating that same message.
I feel like if I was battling with something right now, it'd be more of a decision like, okay, do I want to play, do I not? But for me, man, I mean, what I bring to this team with, the energy and the tone set and things like that, I think it's important for the guys to see me out there. And I feel like, if Jordan's playing and all these other guys are playing, then I need to be out there too.
Plenty more to get you set for the game. ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky has it covered at ESPNWisconsin.com. He also just joined Wilde and Tausch a few minutes ago. Check that out, Wisconsin On Demand.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Of Wilde and Tausch with Bryan Bulaga as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better, begins now, and it begins with the weekend preview.
I'm not going to lie to you, this weekend preview kind of stinks.
You made it.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So a lot of weeks, a lot of years, Week 18 of the NFL season is filled with drama and figuring out playoff positioning, and every window has a game of significance, usually a division winner crowned Saturday, positioning determined Sunday afternoon, and then a division winner again crowned on Sunday night. This year, that's just straight up not the case. Couple of standalone games on Saturday, the Browns and Ravens at 3:30 on ABC and ESPN. Then the nightcaps, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh at 7 o'clock. The Bengals need to win and then get some help on Sunday to stay in playoff contention. They are the team in the AFC that has now taken on the mantle of watch out, nobody wants them in the playoffs because they're getting hot late in the year. But unlikely that the Bengals are even going to make it into the playoffs because they would need to win, and then the Dolphins and Broncos have to have things shake out a certain way on Sunday afternoon. Noon games, again, kind of snoozers. I didn't even put any of them on besides the Packers game because it's not like they all Carolina, Atlanta,
mailing it in.
You want to watch the Tampa New Orleans game instead of the Packers Bears game and see who gets in there? Like, it's not that important. Tampa's probably, with a win, they're in. Like, they're good. There's not even the same drama we thought from the South. Then the afternoon, this is where it gets a little interesting. Kansas City's at Denver. Denver with a win gets in as the final team in the AFC. If they don't win, then the Jets and the Dolphins, Aaron Rodgers impacting the playoff picture potentially in the AFC. If they beat the Dolphins, that's when the Bengals could potentially get in. But again, we might know Saturday night that the Bengals don't even have a chance to get in.
Mm-hmm.
The big one is Sunday night. Everybody wants to watch Vikings-Lions on Sunday Night Football. It's a great game. It will impact the playoffs. 7:20. The Lions are listed as 3-point favorites. They're going to be playing everybody on both sides there. Winner gets the 1 seed. Losers, the 5 seed, probably has to play 3 road playoff games. Huge game, maybe the biggest game of the year in the NFL when you think about all the ramifications in play. Lions-Vikings. It's in Detroit on Sunday night. The rest of the slate, not that impressive. Am I underselling it, Brian, or are you also fairly disinterested in this weekend of football?
All right, let me jump in here because this is dumb.
Well, it is.
Here's the deal.
Come on, schedule makers.
Here's the one question I have for Bryan Bulaga based on this list. Are you watching Dolphins-Jets in case it's Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Do you think it is his last game in the NFL?
I'm at 60-40, yes.
Really?
60%. Yeah, I'm at 60%, yes.
Because?
I just think the way he's hearing him talk about it, he seems about as unsure as I've ever heard him talk about it, right? Like when he was in his darkness retreat, I knew he was playing. Like that, I mean, there was no doubt he was coming back to play. He seems genuinely unsure if he wants to continue to play. And and to me, like, that's wild because like whenever I would speak to him, even like the last few years, like it was always gung-ho, he's ready to go, he's playing. Like even after the Achilles, when I spoke to him, like he was really ready to play and go. And the way this season's went, like I haven't really spoke to him about it, like how everything's gone. I'll probably wait till the off season to reach out to him and talk to him. But it just seems like he's really unsure. And to me, that's a sign that there's a good chance. So also not just with him, right? There's another side of the equation to that. There needs to be a team too, right? Like, it's, as much as like we always say, like we want it to always be our decision as the player. Sometimes it's not always our decision. Sometimes there's also the league decides things for us, and if there's not a team, it's hard to play. So like that, there's a couple different things that are in play here. But so I'll watch it, and that's the after. Is that at noon as well?
No, 3:25 on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll watch that. Yeah, I'll watch the Packers at noon and that at 3:25.
All right, that is the weekend preview. We will get to headlines coming up, and then I'm going to make Jesse forfeit Wo Nelly in favor of getting to some of the texts that we've gotten with questions for you on the Carbless Talk and Text line. Want to remind you again, if Tausch was here, he would do it, but he's not, so I'm doing it. Fortrea Clinical Trials. They got all kinds of studies. Go to FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com. Find one that fits your schedule, and then you can make some extra money for going to the Packers playoff game or whatever you want to spend it on. They are looking for healthy adults ages 18 to 60. Women can be of childbearing potential with a body mass index between 18.5 and 30. The study involves one stay of 11 nights plus 2 follow-up visits, compensation up to $7,104. And if you refer a friend, you'll receive an extra $500 per qualified referral. Again, learn more at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's Fortrea, FORTREA, clinicaltrials.com. We'll get to headlines next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Jesse Nelson here to tell you about Madison Weight Loss, the program that I experienced from the middle of August to the middle of October of 2024, and I was able to drop 40 pounds over those 60 days of unwanted, unnecessary fat, and all I had to do is change up my diet. It was the healthy, natural way to approach weight loss, and I achieved way more than I originally set out to. It was all thanks to the coaching and the guidance from the team at Madison Weight Loss. If you want to make 2025 the year that you achieve your weight loss goal, the way that worked best for me and the way that I recommend you go about it is contacting the team at Madison Weight Loss. Schedule a free consultation either in person or virtually at MadisonWeightLoss.com. You can meet with a member of the team. They'll talk with you about what that food plan looks like, what the regimen looks like over 60 days. Again, there's no intense workout regimen. There's no injections. It's just changing your diet, and that's how you lose weight the natural, healthy way. It worked for me, and I encourage you, as you're thinking about ways to be healthier in 2025, to contact the team. MadisonWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau.
There's always pressure. You got to find ways to deal with that pressure and handle as best you can to be the best.
This is your green and gold fix on 100.5 ESPN.
Obviously, there's going to be things that turn up along the way. You got to be able to adjust.
This green and gold fix is driven by Metro Ford.
Minimal playoff implications on the line Sunday when the Green Bay Packers host the Chicago Bears in the regular season finale. With a win and a Washington Commanders loss to the Cowboys, the Packers would become the NFC's 6th seed. Otherwise, they're the 7th seed. Running back Josh Jacobs says he doesn't know how much he'll actually play against Chicago as he gears up for the postseason.
Being realistic, I don't see me taking that many carries in this game. Obviously, I want to play. I'm going to push the play, and I'm playing, but I don't see myself taking 30 carries. I just don't see it.
The regular season finale, it's Packers-Bears Sunday at noon at Lambeau Field. I'm Alex Strofe.
Purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Ford at Metro Ford of Madison on the east side today.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Happy New Year and happy new engagement. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. You have heard me talk about corporate, fundraising, and even casino events, but we are also amazing wedding DJs. Never cheesy and always the perfect fit for the perfect couple. Please let us help you narrate your wedding day love story while playing an amazing soundtrack that will rock your dance floor. Create lifelong memories of your one special day. Do it right and do it with CelebrationsEntertainment.com. That's CelebrationsEntertainment.com.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Churio, a high fly ball. Back, track, bye, baseball!
100.5 ESPN, your new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Give him hell, time to hate. Gonna live life till we're dead. Give me scars, give me pain. Then the same me.
All right, time for headlines. Presented by Fleet Farm and presented by the Tauscher Headline Academy, which does a great job. I don't know why I've become suddenly public enemy number one of theirs. Just relaying the feeling that more people enjoyed the singing than they have enjoyed the movie clips being reenacted this season. But nevertheless, they've been great regardless, just like Fleet Farm is great. And now's a great time to swing by Fleet Farm because their holiday clearance sale has officially arrived. You can shop in-store and look for the yellow clearance tags to take advantage of these huge deals across the entire store. So visit your local Fleet Farm during the holiday clearance sale today. And Fleet Farm is also here to help you when it comes to holiday cleanup and storage. Right now, you can shop their wide selection of storage totes and boxes and take your organization to the next level. Store it and stack it with all the storage tools you need at Fleet Farm. Time now for the headline of the week presented by the Tauscher Academy players acting out one classic film. Here it is.
Echo, 224th pick of the 7th round, born June 17th, Auburndale, Wisconsin. Favorite board game is Canyon. Favorite card game is Sheephead. Hey, could you sign this for me?
Oh, perfect. A note with a handwritten contract to co-host a sports radio talk show with you.
Could you?
Interesting.
Could you make it out to Mr. Aaron Rodgers? He's my soulmate, best friend, or...
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will figure it out.
We are figuring it out.
Did I ever call you the Tauschinator?
How about Old T?
Hey, that's not original.
This is Jesse. He does a lot of high school sporting events, mostly bowling.
Pretty good.
So, yeah, if you could just tell the Packer fans to not do the wave on offense, they're going to win 35-20.
I think we can do that.
Wait, was Pat supposed to be me? Did we not get the audio at the beginning there? Does he say he's me? Is that what happened there?
I think that's what he was going for. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Interesting.
Brian, what'd you think?
I have to be out of the loop of what's going on here.
No, no, you're not.
I got to be way out of the loop of what's happening because I don't know what was what was that?
What was that?
I'm not trying. I don't understand. Jesse, were you supposed to be somebody? Was Jake, I don't
So
know.
those are Tausch's brothers.
Yeah. Okay.
And Max.
Yep.
And that film, Jesse, was supposed to be...
The Sandlot, I believe, is the answer to this one.
So I have seen... I'm blanking on what scene they're reenacting. There's a lot of classic scenes there. I don't remember that one. And I appreciate Patrick doing his best Jason Wilde impression, and Helmut doing the Jesse Nelson role. But are we doing these for the playoffs?
I believe they are.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay, well, now I have a better understanding of what is going on here. So, like, the next one, I'll be able to, give a better or understand better what's happening. I'm a little. Great acting though, fantastic acting.
No doubt,
really
yes, nice. Incredible acting, especially by Mark Tauscher. Packers, by the way, just sent out an email. This week's distinguished alumni, which I know you've been, Morgan Burnett and Nick Collins coming back for Sunday's game at Lambeau Field. All right, those are headlines. Jesse, being the great teammate that he is, has generously offered to turn over Whoa Nelly and allow us to use that time to read some of the questions for Bryan off of the carbless talk and text line. So we will do that. And plenty of time to do it in. It's the earliest we've ever gotten to Whoa Nelly.
Would have been a great time to do my segment. But yeah, I've generously donated it over to our guy.
Thank you for your unselfishness. Speaking of giving things away, do you have the cheese fry helmet ready?
Oh, I will next segment. That's usually when my segment is when we do that. So generous.
Okay, I want to make sure you have it for a segment that you gave away. That is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Whether you're an artist playing accountant, a barista trying to be a bean counter, or a student just looking to get started, the UW Credit Union app lets you be free to be you. With free credit scores, free online bill pay, and the ability to send money to friends. Because with fewer fees, you can do more of what you love. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today at uwcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hello, I'm John Hayes, the owner of Goodman's Jewelers. It's been my pleasure to serve this community from this incredible store for over 4 decades. We stand upon high standards and classic traditions, pillars like honesty and integrity. Stop into Goodman's Jewelers, the longest-standing full-service jewelry store in the heart of Madison at 220 State Street. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Gold medalist and ESPN Madison foodie Matt Hamilton here to tell you about Metcalf's Market. As a proud Wisconsinite, you know I support local, and it doesn't get more local than 4th-generation family-operated Metcalf's Market. Renowned for offering an extensive selection of local and premium quality foods, it's the best place to shop for me and my family. Where family tradition meets commitment to quality, sustainability, and supporting local communities, head to one of their locations today in Hilldale, near Westtown Mall, or Wauwatosa. Metcalf's Market. Bring local home.
And that was my mindset all year. Involve Giannis every single day.
Gruber Law Offices presents Thanalysis.
There've never been another person like me.
A podcast from Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
So why would I try to change?
Also supported by Carbless, premium ready-to-drink cocktails.
I just got to involve Giannis.
And Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee.
There've never been another Giannis throughout the history of the game.
Subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
It's a new era for Wisconsin football fans.
I want the offense to look like it knows what it's doing. It doesn't look like someone just picked up the controllers and was learning a playbook while they're trying to play the game.
Taking the conversation digital with the Jump Around 3.0.
At this point, the Badgers are metaphorically in football. They're trying to learn to crawl before they can walk and then running it offensively.
The Jump Around with Jim Rutledge, outfitted by Iron Jock Apparel. Streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Wilde and Tausch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's makes the good stuff for good times. Find recipes, videos, and more at titosvodka.com.
I'm not afraid of getting older. I want less day from dying young. I see the light go past my shoulder. I want less day from dying young. And I'm not afraid of getting older. I want less day from
Time now for Wonelli, which is replaced with our Q&A for Bryan Bulaga. Jesse, you got to lean into your unselfishness. I know it's a foreign concept to you.
I don't get it.
Great opportunity for you to look good, setting you up here. What do you got for Bryan? Oh, yeah, and you've got your cheese fry helmet.
I want to do this before I forget. I want to draw our winner. We had 4 contestants on New Year's Eve and 1 yesterday.
Genius
no
idea. Yeah, genius.
I thought it was pretty good. Year in review. And congratulations to the only contestant this week who did not play on New Year's Eve. Yesterday, Jerry in the Prairie only got 1 right, and that's all he needed.
Wow, it's a miracle.
Jerry in the Prairie, this week's winner.
It's like that Bucks comeback that I was listening to Dave Kane and our buddy Justin Garcia on the call last night as they scored 20 straight points to pull within 1 and have a chance to win at the end, and then ended up losing to the Brooklyn Nets. Time now for Q&A time with Bryan.
First question comes in from a 262 on the Carbless talk and text line. This is more. Could you explain the roles of position coach versus player for developing position-specific technique? I think, this is the 262 saying this, I think the pass rush technique of our defensive line is very poor. Bad hand usage, limited moves, poor alignment, etc. Is this a coaching issue or a player issue? What's the path for improvement? And what do the really good players do to improve? A lot there from the 262.
Yeah, there's a lot to dive into there, and I think as the season has gone on, I think we've seen some improvement from our defensive line. I think they played better as this thing has gone. Not as much as we all expected it to be when this thing started off, but I think when you look at the NFL and what a position coach can do for a player, they're there to, obviously, the first thing is to help them learn the playbook. So that's the scheme, and that is how to play within the scheme. The next thing is to refine technique and help them improve with their technique. I'm not too sure if it is to teach them brand new technique. Yes, for pass rush, it is to help them with certain moves and maybe enlighten them to some new moves. And you learn a lot of things from older veteran guys. That is a lot of the way I learned was from watching Clifton, watching Tausch, and learning from those guys. And then when I'd put it on tape, Campy would correct me with things and would coach me on what I was doing. He wasn't necessarily telling me what to do or like how to do it. He was coaching me to give me tips on what I was doing to improve it. So to try to go in and say, is it a coaching problem? I don't know if it's a coaching problem, because you could only do so much for guys that are at the professional level at this point, right? Like, guys are kind of who they are at this point in time, right? Like, yeah, you can improve them technique-wise little by little, but it's up to them to get to that point. Alignment and things like that, like, this is a new scheme, so guys have to get comfortable within the scheme and improve on it, and that's going to take some time. And I think Hafley has said that as this season has gone on, and LaFleur has said it as well. And I think this will get better, but they're going to be bringing in guys as this goes on, right? Like, this is year one of this. I think year two is going to look better, and year three is going to look better, and so on. But for year one, and as the season has gone on, it's gotten incrementally better. It's not as good as I thought it would be from a pass rush standpoint, but I don't know if we can say, like, the coaches are to blame for the guys not being able to pass rush as good as they are or they should be, and they need to make these guys much better, because it's going to be hard to say the coaches are going to make them a lot better, right? Like, to say for, like, I always said this, like, to say that, and I'll always bring it back to our position group, to say, like, it was James Campen's fault if a guy didn't pan out is, like, the wrong way to look at it. It was never going to be the coach's fault, right? Like, you have to start looking internally on that. And that's just always the way we looked at it. Like, was it James Campen's, like, was it all on him that, like, a 4th round or 5th round pick ended up being an all-pro? No, it wasn't all on him, but he helped that guy. But that's on the player to develop that way and work and do all those things. So, like, it's I'll never blame it on a coach. I mean, guys have to grow up once they get in, and if there's a change of scheme, they got to adjust.
Another text comes in from Austin in Salt Lake City. Brian, do you, and they even went with the Wilde and Tausch style,
I appreciate
capitalizing
that. Yeah,
you.
I like that.
Brian, do you think the Packers have their starting 5 on the offensive line currently on the roster for next season? It's from Austin in Salt Lake City.
Well, that's because Myers is a free agent this year, right, Jason?
Correct.
One more. Yeah, so no, I don't think they do. I don't believe they do. So they're going to be short of center, I think, is the way this is going to work out. And how I think it's going to work out is I think they're going to kick Elton into center. And I think the 1st-round pick, Morgan, who missed pretty much this entire year, unfortunately with the shoulder, is going to kick into guard. And then the rest of the guys, where they are is kind of where they're going to be. I mean, yeah, are they going to draft guys? Most likely, right? They'll probably draft guys. In what rounds, I don't know. But the thing is, like, I want to make it super clear too. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with Myers' performance. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think he's played a lot better than he did last year. I just think from a financial standpoint, GMs make decisions, and that's the way it goes from how many guys you got to pay, because they're going to have to pay Zach Tom soon. And that's, you got to make decisions for offensive lines, and that's kind of the way it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would just add this to Brian's answer, and that is that there's only so much money to go around, but we've seen it. You know, John Runyon ended up with the Giants. Like, these are good linemen. Brian's one of them, right? You left for the Chargers. Like, eventually, you only allocate so much to the offensive line, and if other guys are eating up a big chunk of it, you end up saying goodbye to good football players. And I think Josh Myers is going to get a good contract from somebody else, and he's going to be a good center in this league. Is he going to be better than Creed Humphrey, who went the pick after him? Doesn't appear to be the case. Jesse, what else you got?
This one's from Jamie in Mequon. Brian, what have you seen on the limited film of Luke Musgrave? I believe at least once I saw him miss a block badly. What can we expect out of him this season?
Yeah, listen, like, he missed a lot of time, right? And he missed a bunch of time, and it takes longer than a week in live action to get your feet back underneath you and get back in the flow and rhythm of a game. And playing against Minnesota really isn't the easiest one to really start playing a bunch of snaps and get back into. So, to be dead honest, I'm not too sure what we can expect to going forward, right? I think he'll probably get a bunch of snaps against Chicago would be my guess. I think between him and Kraft, I bet, Kraft will get plenty of snaps this week, but I would imagine Musgrave will probably get a lot. We'll probably get the bulk of them to get him going this week. But once we get into playoffs, depending on what personnel they run, it'll be Kraft majority of the time. But he's just missed so much time that it's hard to throw guys back into it and expect them to play really well right out the gate. And really the first thing to go for the tight ends is blocking, right? Like, that's a very tough skill for them. They're already undersized from a weight standpoint. And then to go block defensive ends, it's a tough skill for them. Like, it just is. Not everyone is Mercedes Lewis, right? And it's not an easy thing for those guys to do. And then they're the furthest ones away from the ball, so they're normally the last ones off, moving on the snap count, and it's just tough. So, he might have missed a block or two against Minnesota, but it's going to take time for him. And the injury thing and what he went through and how long it took him didn't help his case. But I think he's talented. I really do. He's just kind of had a bad string of luck the last few years, unfortunately for him, and Kraft has emerged, and that's the way things go in the NFL. When you get hurt, someone normally emerges, and that's kind of the way this has gone.
We have one more text to get to. Jana in Pittsburgh. I know it's Packers game edition, but I will continue to iterate that I need someone to ask Bryan about the Packers O-line appearance in Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah. I was asked to do it, and I said no.
What?
Yeah. Well, it was also because I was rehabbing my knee as well. That was in 2013, I think.
What kind of an excuse is that?
I was rehabbing my knee. I can't
I'm
do the movie.
washing my hair. I can't be in a movie.
Yeah, I think I declined. So it's not really my thing, man. I'm too low key under the radar. It's just not really my thing. But it looks like they had a great time.
You're on the radio across the state right now. You're not low key under the radar.
It's not a Hollywood motion picture.
Okay, that's fair. So who
did you see the last segment? It's pretty close.
That's fair. That's also fair.
But I also was not in that. I was not in that feature. I'll put it that way.
So who all is it's Bakhtiari?
Yep.
TJ Lang, City,
Don Barclay.
Clay Matthews, and Barclay was in instead of you. Well, he did start a bunch of games for you that year.
He totally took Blue's spot.
Yeah.
Oh man! Also, is that a grilled cheese sandwich with a golf hole in it on your shirt?
Pimento cheese.
Oh, you got it from going to the Masters.
It's Masters themed. Yeah, Masters themed from a different company. Yeah.
So wait. So it's a bootleg. You passed it up. Jordan Rodgers is in it also, right? Did Jordan Rodgers take your spot, or did Don Barclay take your spot?
It's a good question. It's a good question. It might have been Jordan. I don't know. To be honest with you, it might have been Don. I don't know. Someone did. Just like I said about Musgrave, if you miss, someone's gonna fill the opportunity. And that's what happened. So someone jumped in.
Did Abby not push you to say, you know what, I can limp through this scene just to be in a Hollywood movie? I feel like Abby would have been pro you in a movie. Am I wrong to think that?
She didn't care one way or another, but she definitely did not say you need to go do this.
Okay. Would you have if she had? If she said, honey, you have to do this, would you have done it?
If she said I had, you got to go do this, I probably would have gone. But it definitely wasn't a priority. We'll just put it that way.
Okay, fair enough.
I have a development newsworthy note that I want to share regarding today's headlines presented by Fleet Farm.
Okay.
Despite several guesses on the Carbless Talk and Text line thinking that the movie was The Sandlot, I have confirmed with sources close to the production that the movie was not The Sandlot.
You told me it was The Sandlot.
That is what I thought it was, based on the texts that were... Usually the texts are not wrong when they're guessing. There were 3 different ones that guessed Sandlot. I had not confirmed that ahead of time, and it turns out it was wrong. The movie that was reenacted, which would have been a lot more impactful had Tausch actually been here for it, The 60-Yard Line. A very obscure film that Jason apparently has not seen all the way through to its finish.
No, I didn't. I paid for it, and I still didn't get to finish it.
I have never seen it. Clearly, Bulaga's never seen it.
That makes sense. He's riding his bike on Stadium Drive.
The 60-Yard Line is the movie.
I got to be honest. I felt like a complete idiot because you told me it was The Sandlot.
I didn't recognize the
Sandlot.
Right? I didn't get it. Makes sense why it's not.
Way to help us all succeed, Jesse. Good thing you gave up your segment at least for Bryan.
Don't you blame me for what that turned into today.
It would have made a lot more sense had I known it was because that is a scene. He rides his bike. Tausch is riding his bike and he encounters. Yeah, okay. Bring back songs. All right, that's it for Wonelli / Ask Bryan Anything. We will wrap up the week and wrap up the show with Feelgood Friday, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints. That's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tosher here, wishing you a happy holiday season from the great team at Hallman Lindsay Paints. Stick around for Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints. If finishing or starting a new paint project is one of your resolutions for the new year, then I recommend you do what my family did and trust the pro painters at Hallman Lindsay. Stop into any of Hallman Lindsay's Madison area location, ask to get in touch with a pro painter, and the experienced team will work with you to find the perfect pro for what your project calls for. After all, Wisconsin's best painters use Wisconsin's best paint. And don't forget, there's only one paint in Wisconsin made for Wisconsin's weather, and that's Hallman Lindsay Paint. Happy holidays from Hallman Lindsay. Great paint, great people, and stay tuned to enjoy Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994. Find the Great Dane nearest you and check out the menu at greatdanepub.com. A marquee face-off. Wisconsin women's hockey continuing their weekend series with Ohio State. Their stage, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, a pairing of the nation's top 2 teams and the last 2 national champs. The cherry on top for senior Kelly Gorpatenko, her personal ties to the game.
What I'm most excited for is just to play in front of all my family and friends. I probably have about 50 people coming to the games, but also just it brings you back to when you're a kid, when you're playing on, the outdoor rinks and the ponds. It's where you really that's where I fell in love with the game, and I'm excited to kind of go back and be able to do that in front of my, hometown.
Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at PellaWI.com.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com because they never charge over the MSRP.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
You gotta get down on Friday. It's time to finish the week off right. It's Feelgood Friday on Wilde and Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay.
Born and raised under the rain and a western.
Time for Feel Good Friday, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints. And our Feel Good Friday, we just talked about him, Josh Myers, who has been named the Packers 2024 winner of the Ed Block Courage Award. Brian, I'm sure you voted in this while you were a player for your teammates. The award recognizes NFL players who best exemplify commitments to the principles of sportsmanship and courage, and is voted on by the players themselves. Each team recognizes an annual recipient for his professionalism, strength, and dedication, and for being a role model in the community. Myers was selected by the team in part because Josh lost his father to lung cancer in July. He dealt with injuries throughout the year. He only missed one game. As Brian pointed out, he's played quite well this season. And knowing, how close you are with your dad, I know how close Tausch was with his dad. Like, that was a big loss, and maybe football sometimes can be a respite from thinking about your sorrow, but that's still really hard to do. And you said you were really impressed with how he's played this season. He has elevated his game as opposed to last year. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. And knowing what obviously he's gone through in July, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot to carry, right? Like, I mean, I couldn't imagine, and that's a lot to carry. And then, like you said, I mean, I don't know all the injuries that he's had, but you've seen he's been beat up a little bit throughout the year, and then to push through all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's played better than he did last year. And that's, I mean, again, there's always people that'll disagree with that, and that's okay. But, like, for me, what I've watched and when he's on the field and when he's not on the field, there's a difference. So to me, I think he's going to earn himself a lot of money, and that's the way I see it.
Brian, when you fill in for Tausch, just like when you're on our show on Wednesdays, the time flies by. We could do another 3 hours, but I know you got other stuff to do, and so do I. So thanks, buddy. We appreciate you a ton, man. We really do.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always fun. Whenever you need a sub for Tausch, which seems like it's, a couple times a week these days, I'll do my best.
Did Iowa win the Music City Bowl? I wasn't paying attention.
They lost by, I think, like a field goal or something.
Oh,
but at least they got. But they got into
too
it,
bad.
Jesse.
He did know that, and he just did that to be a jerk.
That is a shame.
That's it for us. We just got done telling Brian how much we appreciate him.
Pulling for them.
And Bradley had a great football season as well. All right, that's it for us today. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday for the playoff-bound Packers and previewing whoever they get, probably Philadelphia. Have a great weekend. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.